What's going on, everybody? If you're watching this after I went live, please, I go live every single Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. So if you guys want to come join my live one day and be a part of the conversation, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, no, today I wish I had something more better to talk about, but unfortunately I don't. Teofimo Lopez looks like he's having mental issues, possibly suicidal. I don't like to report on stuff like this, and you guys know I'm a big Teofimo fan. That's my favorite current fighter right now. I love the fact that he's always willing to take the toughest challenges at a young age. I love his fighting spirit. I love who he is as just like as a personality. Now, do sometimes he talks too much shit, and I want him to calm it down. Yeah, sure, but that still don't mean that I wish him to be going through mental issues and stuff like that. I really feel bad. I hope him and his family can work it out. And even if he is posting out stuff on public and people think he should keep certain things to himself, and I think this is more a cry for help, man. This is a cry for help. This is him saying like, hey man, like if anybody out there can help me, please do. That's the feeling I have that he's putting out there, like by going public with these thoughts and opinions he's putting out. I mean, it's unfortunate, but hey, it's the truth. That's what's happening. uh Last I saw him about coming back to fight, I saw he was talking about coming back to fight in May. So I don't know if he's in condition mentally to fight in May. uh i, I saw that Punch Drunk reported that he's going to be working with Eddie Reynoso, as well as keeping his father. That I find interesting, but I'm not sure he's in the mental space to fight right now, man. I'm almost of the mindset of, bro, just take off all the way off until September, October. Get your family life in general in in order before you come out and start, fighting and stuff. Like, man, fighting takes really something out of you, and mental health is a real thing. I understand that some of us who don't suffer from mental health, it's hard for us to understand how somebody can be depressed. It's hard for us to understand why somebody wants to hurt themselves or hurt people around them. But we're not doctors, we're not professionals. So, that's why I want him to see somebody. I want him to see a doctor, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, or something. Have a conversation with a person like Jordan Peterson, who's a clinical psychologist, a former college professor, somebody who's helped a lot of people with their problems throughout their lives, because he's a private, he's also a clinical psychologist. So I would love to see him reach out to somebody like that and maybe figure out the problems he's having. But you know unfortunately, boxing's a lonely sport. Yeah, you can have everybody in your training camp. You can have your fighters training with you, but at the end of the day, you're the only one in there taking the punches. You're the only one in there really getting lumped up. And he's going through a divorce. He just lost all his belts to Cambosos. It's just like a lot's going on in the kid life. Hopefully, I sent them an email. I sent them an email from two different email addresses. So I sent them two different email addresses. I DM'd him. I want to reach out to him so we could have a conversation. I feel like I would be a good influence on him, whether it be on camera or off camera. Like I care about Teofimo Lopez as a person, as a human, more so than a boxer. And you know what I'm saying? Like, these people are not just there just to entertain me. They're there, for yes, they're there for my entertainment, in the sense like that's the kind of relationship I have with him on my TV screen. But at the same time, I would rather see him be healthy and okay than me being like, oh man, he why is he not fighting? Why hasn't he been in the ring? Or hurry up, just get in there, fight. Fuck your mental health, this, that. Like, I'm not that type of dude, man. I hope he gets better. I really do. I really do. Things were going too fast for him. Got married young, career got pushed too fast, and is divorcing at only 24. Yeah, no. And then on top of that, he's talking about how he's not being able to see his son. And his son was born not too long after before his fight with Cambosos. So his son is a little baby, and you haven't seen your son, and you haven't, or at least having trouble seeing your son. I can't I can't say that wouldn't affect me mentally, man. My girl is pregnant right now. My girl's due in April. So I just can't imagine my lady giving birth and then us going through some problems and her not letting me see my son. That would crush me. That would probably spiral me down to, having mental issues. Luckily, me and my lady, we have a great relationship and that's not going to happen. But point is, that's what Teofimo's going through and it's not cool, man. Hey, Joel, want to thank you again for the great contact and hard work. It's much appreciated. It is really helping me through a rough time, man. I'm glad I can help in any way I can, brother. I just want to say regarding the interview you had with one of the Bud handlers, I think it was very unfortunate he had to compare Bud to non-US boxers in terms of popularity. The thing is that you in Australia, you don't see the difference of how certain fighters from other countries are promoted and how certain American fighters are promoted. How when Triple G came to the US, HBO was promoting the shit out of him. They had the whole thing, the 2 days of him training, all exclusive, all access, and this and that. But a guy like Andre Ward wasn't getting that kind of treatment, wasn't getting that kind of promotion. And it's like, what's the difference between these two fighters? If anything, Andre Ward is more accomplished than Triple G, and he won a gold medal. Triple G's a silver medalist, and he was getting way more push than Andre Ward. So there's a lot of things that you, as a foreigner, no disrespect, would never understand what goes on in here in America in terms of promoting, because how you get promoted something in Australia is totally different how we get promoted something here in America. Jay, what up, my brother? Shout out to you. Shout out to you, my guy. Most real boxing fans I know or have spoken to are huge Bud fans because he is in his peak condition throughout the year, works hard, is a good family man, and has intellectual interests outside the ring. But if you saw the interview, he was saying how that doesn't sell. You got to throw money. You got to do all these types of dancing, tap dancing shit to get promoted. And it's like, and Bud is not that kind of guy. Bud's a family guy, man. Bud is not somebody who is going to be trash talking just a trash talk. He's a good dude. He's an honest guy. He's smart. And he's a violent fighter, man. He knocks people out. He brawls when he needs to. He boxes when he needs to. And I'm a huge fan of him. And unfortunately, Bob Arum just doesn't know how to promote him. That's just honest truth, to be honest. Hold on one second, guys. I'm gonna have somebody on today, so for you guys to enjoy. We're gonna have a nice little debate match. But today, as you guys see the topics today, talk about Keith Thurman versus Mario Barrios being a WBC Eliminator, and as well as Teofimo's mental health. Hold on one second. All right, boom. All right, and if you guys want to call in, the link is pinned to the top of the chat. He's probably the only American boxer I like. I don't think the guy needed to resort to race card or compare him to Eastern Europeans and Central Asians. I don't see, like, if that wasn't the essence of the interview, like, I don't understand how that was the only thing you got from the interview. It's weird. It really sucks and it's worrying, man. I don't know if it has to do with him losing, but he definitely needs help. He actually, regarding the Teofimo situation, let me screen share this. He actually has been having suicidal thoughts before he lost to Cambosos. So it's not that. Look, this article was published October 7th. The Teofimo fight, I believe, was November 27th. I was there, so I remember it was November 27th. So Teofimo Lopez thought about suicide 3 times over the last year. And look, and that article was published, look right here, October 7th of 2021. So this guy was the active lineal lightweight champion at the time. He was undefeated, and he already had thoughts about committing suicide over 3 times. Let me read you the quotes. People say, what's the sacrifice? People think sacrifice is killing people, but the sacrifice really is just love, and it starts with you. That's what happens with me. I took a step back and was like, man, I'm really thinking about killing myself. That's how serious it got. Not once, not twice, maybe like 3 times. I was like, that ain't right. Why am I going to kill myself with all the blessings I'm receiving? I had to take a step back, get off the phone, because that shit is toxic. It really is. People can get like that with you. Negative people can really bring negative mindsets. I took care of my body and thanked Lord for his grace and mercy. Humbleness and awareness will always go far. I won't ever change, even after becoming undisputed champion. So this guy has been struggling with mental health for a minute, and it's not good. It's not good. All right, guys, I got one of my my guests here. He's gonna be with me. Ezra, what up, bro?
What's up? Thanks for having me on again.
How's everything? Everything good?
Everything's good. Ready to go.
All right. So I don't. Did you hear me reading the quote as far as with?
I heard a little bit of it with Teofimo.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about Teofimo? So back in October 7th of last year, there was an article published on Boxing Scene where he spoke about having suicidal thoughts 3 times, and now it's coming out. He's putting out messages that maybe he'll be appreciated after he's gone. He put up a picture of his son on his IG story saying, we'll be together when I'll see you from above, like basically saying like he'll see him from heaven, all these types of stuff. What do you make of all that?
Yeah, it's not good, man. It has he looks like has like the mess, like you got like all these, you have an athlete and you see all these warning signs, you know what I mean? And these are beyond warning signs now. Maybe we saw it before warning signs, but now it's beyond that, right? This is like legit something to worry about, be concerned for his health and, his well-being. And it doesn't make me want to see him fight, honestly. If I'm being honest with you, it's not exactly making me excited to watch him fight. It seems like it's like his only key to happiness right now would be probably his success in the ring, because everything outside of it doesn't seem to be that joyful.
Yeah, I'm very concerned. I hope he's okay, because when Ryan Garcia was going through his mental health situation, I kind of like I knew I took it serious, and I do actually believe, a lot of people think Ryan Garcia was lying. I do actually believe he was having mental issues. I just don't see Ryan Garcia with the ability to kill himself or having that, getting that deep, getting that far. Teofimo, he's like he's a strong, wild dude, like where I can picture him actually getting to that point. And that's why I really worry about it. And that's why I really wanted to touch on that subject today.
He's saying this for a reason,
Yeah,
he's afraid to cry for help.
Exactly. Like when Ryan Garcia was talking about his mental health, he wasn't talking about suicide. He was talking about how he was struggling, how he wasn't feeling well, how this. Teofimo was actually talking about, committing suicide, saying he's had these thoughts before, tweeting how. Let me get the exact tweet, because I don't want to just talk off the cuff.
Who did he interview with where he released like all this in the interview?
Oh, which interview you referenced?
Well, I don't know. You're reading an article. Was that off an interview that he said that?
Yeah, that was an interview back in October 7th of 2021. He gave an interview to Boxing Scene. It was Manuk Akopine. I can't pronounce his name. But so did you hear the quote or no? Do we want me to read it again?
I heard part of it. What you were saying, yeah, I heard part of it.
All right. Yeah, no. Also, guys, I see there's people in the chat. Guys, this is my guy Ezra from the Ezra podcast. I'm going to screen share his page right now. I need you guys to please go over there, subscribe to his channel. This guy knows a lot about boxing, a lot about MMA. So if you guys can please go to his page, his Ezra podcast, and subscribe. Let me screen share that for you guys right now.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, because I'm telling you, I'm telling you guys, I wouldn't be promoting him if he ain't know shit about boxing. I'll be shitting on him right now, but This is his podcast right here. As Raw Podcast, Boxing and MMA. Please go over there, hit the subscribe button. Right now, he only has 39 subscribers. By the end of this live, he better have 49 because there's 10 people on here.
I need more.
Exactly. He needs more. Get my man his subscribers. Also, at this Saturday, after the Keith Thurman Mario Barrios fight, me and Ezra, we're gonna go live right here on this channel. So make sure right after the Keith Thurman Mario Barrios fight, you guys come to this channel. We're gonna be discussing, what we think of the fight, what we think of both fighters' game plan. Where does Mario Barrios goes from here? Where does Keith Thurman go from here? As well as possibly talking about the undercard, depending on what happens there. So again, this Saturday, right after the fight, Keith Thurman versus Barrios, we'll be here discussing the post-fight analysis.
I have a feeling there's going to be a lot to talk about too.
I have a feeling too.
Too.
I saw you on Twitter going back and forth with Matt about is this fight a WBC Eliminator? After your research, what did you gather?
Yeah, because it don't mean anything. Because it's just something said so they can get a 12-round fight. The thing that's funny is there was a fight on here with two higher ranked guys on the undercard in the WBC, and that wasn't an eliminator. Like I hate when I say that, and then people will be like, "Oh, you don't understand." And it's like, no, none of us understand. We're repeating what they're saying, yes, but we don't understand. Like
you're making up the rules as you go. It's like
exactly.
I don't understand. I read an article. I saw you post an article saying that Mauricio said it wasn't an eliminator.
No, he said it was. He said it was an eliminator. It wasn't a final eliminator. So he said, of course, they'll have work to do after. And it's like, yeah, you're not in the top 10. You should have about 9 guys to do after. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
From what I understand, I read another article. I can't find it now. I don't remember who wrote it, but I believe it was Jake. It was on Boxing Scene. I don't want to say it was Jake Down. It was just on Boxing Scene, where they said that the winner of this fight will have to fight David Avanesian to become the mandatory of the WBC.
Yeah, that's what Avanesian is. He's the threat because everyone supposedly has to fight him, but no one fights him, and no one is demanded to fight him. It's just you'll have to fight him, but no one ever fights the guy. No one ever. Yeah. It's just, and now he's so avoided, right? Like David Avanesian, right, who beat an old Shane Mosley, right, who beat Josh Kelly, who was hyped up on Instagram, yes, but he beat those two guys, and suddenly he's a world beater, and no one wants to fight him. But it's like, no, that's not the case, right? And no one's gonna have to fight him. That's the best part about it. And no one will have to fight him. They'll get title shots. And he'll be jumped over the whole time.
No, I agree. The WBC is one of the most wretched organization in boxing. They make the rules up as they go. They have their favorites, and they're a shameful organization. I don't want to. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I do, not for nothing. I do like their belts. The belts do look the best.
Look nice.
Out of all of them, I want to say they have the best belts. Even
they do. It's the best shirts too. They're the best T-shirts too. But other than that, but all I'm not even going to single out WBC. All of them are like this. They're all like this. It's all the same thing. That's why I don't understand.
The IBF and the WBO, I wouldn't call them disgusting organizations. Do I agree with everything they do? No, but they're not like where I'm like.
Is the WBO the one that wanted you guys to do the tournament?
No, that's the WBA.
Oh, that's WBA. Okay.
Yeah, okay. The WBA, that's the worst one for me. Fuck the WBA. You'll never hear me say anything nice about the WBA.
I have nothing nice to say about any of the belt systems. I'll be honest with you. I have nothing nice to say about anything.
Hey, listen, I get it. It's so confusing, especially since they're so hesitant to work with each other or combine as one. Like, you imagine if, like, let's say WBC bought out the IBF, and now there's 3 belts as opposed to 4. Let's get this shit down to 1 belt, man. But that'll never happen
because they'll have to charge whatever percent they charge, right? If they buy the other one, what would be the incentive of doing that? Are they gonna charge double the percentage for their belt? No one's gonna do that.
I know. It doesn't make business sense. I was more saying for the good of boxing, but that should
for the good of boxing, I agree with you. There should be 1 belt. We should get rid of all of them. But for the good of boxing, I agree with you on that.
Yeah. But as far as Teofimo, what do you think is his next step? Is his next step finding a fight? Because before he announced all these suicidal thoughts and all that, he posted up that he was coming back in May.
He's supposed to fight Barbosa.
Barbosa. That was a heavy rumor. And to be honest, Barbosa is it's a pretty dangerous fight coming off a loss, moving up in weight. You're not gonna have like a.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense promotion wise because Barbosa is not a well known guy. He's building his name, but he's not a well known guy. So it's not like Teofimo comes in there and beats him, and now he beat a name at 140. No, he beat an up and coming guy at 140 who you're trying to build. If you're Top Rank, you're trying to build him as well. So why would you sacrifice either of them to each other? The fight with Cepeda, that's the fight that makes the most sense is Cepeda, but they're going to go different route. Cepeda, who's supposedly going to be on a February card, but it hasn't been announced yet. But yeah, that's what I don't understand.
We're in February.
That's what I'm saying. The Cepeda said he's fighting in February in Los Angeles.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he's that much of a draw where he could announce a fight in 3 weeks' notice. And
well, he's probably an undercard. That's honestly the way Top Rank's doing it. Is probably gonna put him on an undercard. They're probably gonna hide him on an undercard. But
really?
The whole thing with Barbosa, it doesn't make any sense for Teofimo. Like that fight literally makes no sense, and it's a tough fight. It's not even a for sure.
That's what I'm saying. And this guy's going through this mental issues. I don't understand how you gonna put a guy in who came off a tough fight, a fight of the year candidate. It was my personal fight of the year last year. Where he got cut, he got dropped, he had trouble making weight. Allegedly, he's had this like lung issue or whatever, where he's having all these problems, all these mental problems, and now you're gonna throw him in the ring against an undefeated fighter when he's his first fight at 140, and he's going through all these mental issues. I don't see what Top Rank is doing there.
I just posted that like I was buying his stock up at 140. I was like, oh man, everybody's low on him and everything. But this now I'm like, you got to step away from him. You got to be like, oh man, I don't know, because there's dogs at 140. Like 140 may not be well known, but there's some dogs at that weight class, especially the Top Rank has, right? There's some very good guys you would have to get through as far as Cepeda, Jose Ramirez. Of course, we know Josh Taylor. If he's on the right mental state, right, for this fight, and that could be the reason why he lost his last fight, was in the right mental state. It's only going to get worse with the fighters at 140, especially that kind of power if he's on his game. So I don't know. It's not good. None of this is good. Like all of this here is like you kind of want to sell the stock. I'm gonna still keep it because I think he's very undervalued right now. But yeah, it's not looking good, man. It's not good.
I heard. I don't know if you've seen, but I heard from another YouTuber on his page, Punch Drunk. He said that Teofimo is gonna now work at Canelo's gym and work with Eddie Reynoso, and he's still gonna keep his father, but he's gonna have Eddie Reynoso also help him out, and he's gonna do his training camps there. And I like the idea of that. That's a good.
That's a good matchup. That's a good matchup, especially because of the counter punching, and Reynoso gets out all like if you're explosive in any way, Reynoso knows how to use that to where you could find the shots. He teaches you, like this is the shot you're gonna be looking for. This is how you're gonna find it. This is how you're gonna set it up. This is how you're gonna trap the guy to give you that shot.
No,
it'd be an excellent matchmaker.
Yeah, and two of the things that I like about that match, where if the rumor is true from that reported by Punch Drunk, that what I like is that if they can teach Teofimo how to roll his head like how Canelo does, like a lot of times Canelo would just stand there with his hands down and literally just roll his head. It's something that Roberto Duran used to do as well.
Yeah.
It's a great defensive move that doesn't require a lot of energy, as well as puts you in counter-punching position, because once you roll your head, you can come back with a right hand. Mayweather, to some degree, used to do it, although it was more the shoulder as opposed to the head. But I do like, if he could teach him that move, that'll be great, as well as setting up the knockout. I know Teofimo has power, but I felt like in the Cambosos fight, he was just, let me just knock this dude out. That's not how boxing works. You have to set up the knockout. And the same thing happened in the Nakatani fight. I felt like he was rushing to get the knockout as opposed to setting it up.
He's very on reaction. Like he maybe doesn't even necessarily even go in there with like a game plan. He's just kind of like, I have these abilities. I know what I'm good at in the ring. And if you give me the opening, I can react. I know what openings I need to react on. But with Reynoso, he's going to give you a game plan. He's going to give you a structure on what you're going into the ring. Instead of trying to figure it out once you're in there with all your talent, you got to go in there with, the best. They're going to go in there with a game plan and a structure of like, this is what we're doing. This is what we're looking for in this fight. In the Cambosos fight, you could tell that he winged it. You could tell that they were like, okay, jump on him. And then they were like, okay, well, now we're going to, we're going to look for the shot all night because that's where we're at. We got dropped. We want to prove that. And then you get to the point where in his head, he's thinking like, I need an impressive win here, right? That's the thing that I'm also thinking about this Thurman fight, right? Is what's in his head of how impressive does he need to look, right? Because that's another challenge that you're adding on yourself other than just winning the fight. And that's what Teofimo had. He didn't want to even be in a close fight with Kambosos. He's like, I need to knock this guy out because I don't want to be in a close fight with him because that's going to diminish my value going forward, even in a close win with Kambosos.
Yeah, but the thing is that he could have gotten the knockout. Like that's
No, he was there,
what
yeah.
it is. Just I mean, one, we got to give credit to Kambosos. Kambosos fought a great fight, but he didn't set up the knockout. Like if you look back at the Lomachenko fight, he did fantastic body work. A lot of people don't want to give Teofimo full credit for that win because Lomachenko, what he did was, you know, not really open up until the seventh, eighth round. So, but I'm like, you guys are taking away credit from Teofimo. He was setting it up. He was landing hard body shots. And even when he wasn't landing in the body, he was landing in the arms. And Lomachenko kind of like felt the power and was hesitant to open up. Felt like in the Kambosos fight, he just came like, fuck it. I know I got power. I made Lomachenko get scared. I knocked out Comey in one round. And it's like, bro, set it up. Use your jab. And I almost feel like he also needs to change levels, not just jab to the head, jab to the body as well. You know, I didn't like his performance in that fight. And I think that's something that Eddie Reynoso could clean up. Those little mental lapses and stuff like that.
At that level, right, you can't just rely on your natural explosion, speed, and power. Like that's just going to get through everyone. It isn't. You need a game plan. You need to be able to make adjustments. I don't think he has a lot of adjustments in his game right now, right? That needs to be probably built in. He just won a lot of fights on ability. Now, I think the Lomachenko fight showed that he could go in there with the game plan and follow it, and he did that for the first half of the round. You saw as Lomachenko kind of started putting it on him, though. It did kind of fall apart a little bit. It got a little shaky in the second half of that fight.
Well, I don't want to take away credit from Loma. Loma,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he adjusted his championship fight for for multiple belts. Definitely the lineal lightweight championship. So it's like you're gonna be in there with somebody tough, and yeah, did he get touched up against Loma? Absolutely. Well, it's fucking Lomachenko, 2-time gold medalist. It's like.
Remember, Teofimo also had another trainer going into that camp. Now, I'm sure you know who that is. I don't remember his name.
Joey Gamache, I believe.
Joey Gamache. And that guy seemed to put that structure. I don't know why they didn't want to go back to him. It seemed like they had a lot of success with him. But I think Reynoso's an excellent trainer as well. We have to be very careful with Reynoso, though, because he has a lot of guys now. See, this is usually the fall of a lot of good trainers, that they get a lot of guys that's, a lot of guys, you need that guy you're the special guy to him, right? He's going to build everything around you. When he has Canelo, he has Ryan Garcia, he has Andy Ruiz. There's a lot of names that he has now. Frank Sanchez. A lot of you see this with a lot of celebrity trainers. That's when it starts diminishing. You have too many names.
Well, the reason why I'm not that concerned about that yet, which is a good point. The reason why I'm not that concerned, because from what I understand is he's gonna keep his father as a trainer. He's just going to go work with Eddie Reynoso, do his training camps there. And Eddie Reynoso is going to give his father pointers as well as Teofimo pointers. And then, you always see Canelo teaching Andy Ruiz moves, teaching Ryan Garcia certain little tricks, teaching Frank Sanchez. So I think Canelo, which is somebody who everybody in the boxing world respects, being in the same gym with you and teaching you just little 2-3 sneaky moves. Like I seen him teaching Ryan Garcia how to do a little sneak jab. He was like, kind of like just bounce forward, look down at his body, and just come up quick without making eye contact and do a jab to the face. Even if it's a little move like that, I think Teofimo is explosive enough and powerful enough where a little move where he can land that hard jab and set something up can make a big difference.
The one thing I do worry about is, we have to pay attention that Canelo is obviously building his promotion up, right? They're obviously building up a management thing with Reynoso, right? They might bring these guys in, say, oh, you're in with us, but they're not really training them. The dad's training them. He's just there in the gym with him, right? You see this with Floyd Mayweather, right? He has Rolly. You'll see him even working with Rolly. But Rolly's there to fight Tank. They want Tank to win. I mean, that's the truth of it, right?
Yeah.
Is it necessarily a trainer or is he a manager? Is there a percentage that Reynoso wants off of Teofimo? All those things like that, it's real celebrity to me. You know what I mean? Well, I want that. I think it could work, but there's a lot of celebrity to it. I could see.
I don't see that. I don't see that going that route because he doesn't promote or manage Ryan Garcia. He doesn't promote or manage Andy Ruiz.
Not yet, though.
he doesn't.
That's coming. I'm telling you, it's coming.
He does. He does.
They're building that thing for a reason.
Does he have? Does he have any kind of financial interest in Frank Sanchez?
Well, Frank Sanchez did was able to leave PBC card, right, and find a DAZN card on a Canelo fight. So he must have some kind of involvement, right? He must have some kind of.
But either way, Teofimo's with Top Rank, and he's with Dave McWater. Dave McWater is one of the best managers in all of boxing, so I don't see him leaving him anytime soon. I wouldn't worry about that so much. The only thing, like you said, Reynoso may be spreading himself thin, but again, if Eddie Reynoso could teach Teofimo Lopez Sr. 2-3 things, Canelo Alvarez could teach Teofimo Jr. 2-3 things, that can make a world of difference, man. And that I go by that by just life. Like, bro, I started waking up. Every time I wake up now, I make my bed as soon as I wake up, right? I started this little habit. That's something so small, right? You wouldn't think that makes a world of difference. But it has. I get so much more done throughout my day when I do that.
Yeah.
The days that I'm a little lazy and I kind of stay in bed and I toss and turn and I stay on my phone, I don't get as much done, even if I only stood in the bed for 2 minutes. So the whole point I said that is that little differences make a big difference.
Yeah.
And if Teofimo could learn how to set up knockouts and roll with punches, just those two things is gonna be a world of difference.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see how it plays out. It seems like we have bigger problems other than what he's learning right now.
I'm just trying to keep it light because, of course,
I get you. But we're gonna see because I want to know now: is a Teofimo fight going to be announced soon? Right? Is this everything coming out going to delay that? Are they still focused on getting the fight? Is this going to be announced soon? Because it has to be announced. Something has to be laid out pretty soon, right? If they're going to get him in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, he said on his Instagram page, he says, "See you in May. I'll be fighting in May." So if he's going to be fighting in May, they're going to have to announce something. I want to say at least in the next couple weeks, maybe in the next month. Within the next month, they have to announce something because you got to promote the fight.
Yeah, they got to get a head start on it.
Yeah. But as far as this Saturday, how do you see the fight playing out between Keith Thurman and Mario Barrios?
Okay, so I've been doing a little research, a little studying on it, right? The one thing that I think that's key to remember, right, and it's Keith Thurman, right, hasn't got a TKO or KO since 2013. Okay, and that's not one of those dumb stats where it's like, oh no, he's only he's had 2 fights from then. No, he had 8 fights since then. Now he did stop.
Wasn't it 2015?
No, it's 2013. Now he has 2 guys stopped in the corner. They quit in between rounds. Yes, he has that.
Come on, bro. That you still got to count that.
Okay, no, wait. I'm saying though, right? We're talking about one time here, right? We're talking about the nickname one time. I'm saying he lands a shot, you go to sleep. That hasn't been the case since 2013. Okay, that has not been the case. Now you can say he's up competition, all those things. There's some names in there that aren't exactly up competition. There's Luis Colazo in there. Okay, so that's the one thing is that I think a lot of people are going in there thinking like, well, Barrios didn't get his head knocked off. Not necessarily, right? Not necessarily. Another thing is Thurman's been out the.
Oh, well, I can't hear you, brother. I can't hear you. Oh, what the hell happened?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, so Thurman's been out the ring for 2 years. Last time he did that, he fought Suicidal Lopez and didn't have a great performance, right?
Yeah.
And it was because a lot of things is he's based on timing. A lot of his stuff is based on timing and rhythm. And if he doesn't have that, right, and he's going to struggle with that in this fight, and Barrios isn't a bad fighter. He's not a bad fighter. Maybe not the highest level of fighters. Maybe not he doesn't have anything that he's really elite at. But he's a guy that he's going to come in shape. He's going to come in ready, and he's going to come in sharp for what he can do. And that's where he can spell trouble.
And to add on to that, Keith Thurman also has had hand injuries, shoulder injuries, and elbow injuries. One, it could be those injuries could stack up on him, and 2, he can re-injure one of those things. It's like he can re-injure his elbow where now he can't use his left hand or right hand, or he could injure his break his hand or his shoulder or something within the fight. So I totally see your point. This isn't a gimme fight as people trying to make it out to be.
No, I don't think it is, but it's more not giving because I don't know what to expect from Keith Thurman. Now, if I get the Keith Thurman that fought Pacquiao, right? If I get that Keith Thurman that is can bounce on his feet, can time you, can be good with the distance and catch you when you come in, I'll pick it, Keith Thurman in the fight. I'm not going to pick him by knockout. I'm not going to pick him by stoppage because that just hasn't been him in a while. But I'll pick him to win the fight, and I'm thinking he's going to pull this one out. I think he's going to pull this fight out. I just think that we might not be as pressed as we think we are going to be.
You're picking Keith Thurman by decision?
I'm picking Keith Thurman by decision.
As am I. That's my prediction video. That's what I made. I said that this fight is going to be a lot closer than people think, but him going to decision with Mario Barrios definitely does hurt his stock, considering Mario Barrios just recently got knocked out by a lightweight in Tank Davis, and you're a full-blown welterweight, a guy who fought Pacquiao, a guy who fought Sean Porter and Danny Garcia. You have all this experience. You're so much bigger than Tank, and you get into Mario Barrios moving up in weight, and you can't knock him out. It's gonna do damage to his stock.
There's a lot of things here that are on Keith Thurman, right? That we think like, oh, he's getting a tune-up fight. He's getting a measuring stick fight with Tank. He's getting a measuring stick fight with him, right? So that's against him, right? He's also got to look impressive because he wants Terrence Crawford or Earl Spence. So he has to look impressive to sell those fights, right? And I want to know is that if we're in the 7th, 8th round, and this is a competitive fight, a guy that quit for 2 years said, I'm done with boxing, right? And there was rumors that, wasn't taking the training camp serious for a Pacquiao fight. Is he ready? Does that start to creep in like, hey, you know what? I really don't want to do this anymore. And does that set the wheels in motion for an upset?
I mean, to be honest, I don't want to make too much of it, but I've heard him in interviews, and it could be that he's just a good talker, but the guy seems really, really motivated. I'm like, damn, like the way he talks, and again, it could just be that he's a good talker, but the way he talks is like, it's almost like he just got an injection of energy and hunger again. Like he's out there, he's saying that he wants the big dogs and how he's ready to fight and how he's ready to prove he's the number one welterweight and how that nobody's going to be in his way to stop him. And I'm like, man, like the guy seems ready. The guy's doing a good job selling the pay-per-view as far as proving that he's not done.
From right now, from the stool that I'm in right now, I feel like I could sell a pay-per-view, right? I could tell you that I want Golovkin. Golovkin's old. He's triple OG. He's not triple G anymore. He's triple OG. He's an old man. I could take him out. It'd be easy. Easy work. I eat him up. I eat Charlo up. I eat Andrade up, right? I could do that from this stool. The truth is I'm out of shape. I'm not a high-level boxer at all, and I get my ass whooped. That's 100% the truth of it. So a lot of people can sell a fight. That's 100% that I believe that. But I want to know. We're going to find out. When he's in the ring, we're going to find out what he has left. And we're going to know if he's Terrence Crawford level.
I mean, to be honest, like I don't want to say this because, like, I'm a boxing YouTuber, but man, I don't want to see that dude get hurt against Crawford. Crawford will fuck that dude up, man.
I agree.
Off one fight after 2-year layoff, you think you're just gonna jump in with Crawford? Like one of my favorite knockouts of Crawford is that Kell Brook knockout. Like, he just jabbed him, and it was like one of the most
timing, yeah.
One of the most violent jabs I ever seen, and just seeing Kell Brook's eyes, he was just like dazed. And so my point is that when Terrence Crawford lands a good one on you, he makes it fucking count. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if Keith Thurman, who got hit in the body and took his mouthpiece out against Pacquiao, had to run around and to survive, who's been hurt to the body by was it Collazo who hurt him to the body?
I think did hurt in the body. Maybe it is Collazo.
I think it was Collazo also hurt him to the body. It's like, bro, if you getting hurt by these guys, imagine when it's Terrence Crawford. You know what I'm saying? This dude's knocking motherfuckers out with jabs.
That's also
coming off. What's up?
That's also an interesting point of this fight is that both these guys were actually just dropped by body shots, right? He was hurt with a body shot against Pacquiao, and Barrios was dropped by a body shot against Tank. And I think that's an interesting point of the fight because I think they're both going to have the body to work in this fight. And I think Keith Thurman might have to be a little more aggressive than he usually wants because he's not really necessarily coming forward aggressive type of fighter. He really isn't. He's more like, you come in and then I'm going to react. I'm going to explode with shots and try to catch you.
So let's play scenario out. Although we'll talk about this more on Saturday after the fight, but let's play a scenario out that Keith Thurman comes out, blasts his guys out in 5 rounds, and he looks fantastic. He looks like the Keith Thurman of old. He lives up to his one-time nickname. Where does he go from there?
He would have everything really. He would have Earl Spence would make sense. Now I don't know if he get Earl Spence next. Earl Spence probably has a few fights. I think Earl Spence has to fight Ugas, and then he probably has to fight the winner of Stanionis versus Butev. I'm pretty sure he has to fight that. I'm pretty sure that's why they stepped aside, because they were guaranteed the winner of that fight. The one that everybody wants to see and everyone thinks is next is Terrence Crawford, right? There's also another fight that no one really talks about, and that's Tank Davis. And there's a reason why this is a measuring stick fight for Tank Davis. And there's a reason why Tank Davis is kind of running out of opponents, right? What is he going to go back and fight Rolly? Is Rolly a big fight now? No, I don't think Rolly's a big fight.
Well, the WBA mandated it for whatever reason. Yeah, and you know how I feel about the WBA.
But does Tank have the real WBA belt?
Nah.
Then he'll throw that in the trash. What the hell does he need that belt for? Like, it's he don't have the real belt.
No,
and already said
I'm not saying that he's so worried about the fact that it's mandated, but the fact that they're both on PBC, they both promoted by Mayweather, that it's just such an easy fight to make, and they already have something to go off of the.
Is it an easy fight
ridiculous
to make?
press conference? What was that?
Is it an easy fight to make? Does Showtime and CBS want to put Rolly in front of a microphone right now? With all the charges,
he beat the case. I don't even want to say he beat the case. He was never charged.
There's a lot of actors that have never been charged that are not on their TV shows anymore, right? Listen, there's a lot of.
But you just not gonna let him work ever? You just not gonna let him work ever?
No, but the Showtime, right? They have the right. Not that he can't box. He can box. He can even be the mandatory. But Showtime has the right to say, I don't want him in front of a mic. And I wouldn't trust him. If I'm running a business, I don't trust him in front of a mic.
You know why they're not going to do that? Because they don't want to ruin their relationship with Al Heyman and what's his name, Floyd Mayweather.
I don't think Al Heyman will stick his neck out for a Rolly. I don't think Al Heyman will be like, I don't think he's dying to say, let's get Rolly in the ring.
But why do you say that? Why do you say that?
With Rolly?
What do you mean when we get behind the mic? What do you mean when you say that?
Well, I don't know what he's going to say. The guy is obviously, right, he just had a case, an accusation, a terrible accusation put against him. And you've seen the tweets, the first tweets he sends out, right? This guy obviously is not going to handle this gently, right? He's not going to walk on eggshells in this thing. And this is kind of a thing where you need to walk on eggshells, right? We need to be everybody needs to be very careful what they say going forward. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy you can get control of what he's going to say going forward. He's a street fighting karate guy, and he's going to say what he wants. He's going to be wild. He's going to be all that. And I just don't think Showtime's going to take that chance with him. I don't think that they're in a hurry to do it.
Nah, well, come on, man. In boxing, we've had people say more ridiculous things. Ricardo Mayorga smacked Shane Mosley's wife ass.
That's a whole different thing, and that was on like some cheap pay-per-view. But that wasn't. We're in a complete different era now. I mean, look at Dave Chappelle's like almost getting canceled on Netflix. Like we're in a complete different era. This isn't that. That was the Wild West compared to what we're at now.
Derek Chisora spit in Vladimir Klitschko's face and smacked Vitaly Klitschko.
It's not the same though. It's not the same to what he was accused of, right? Now the example you could use is Jake Paul was accused of something like this before his fight, but that was on Triller. That was on Triller. So Triller is willing to do a lot of things, and they don't have a giant business.
But his last fight was on Showtime. His last fight against Woodley was on Showtime.
No, I know, but that's after we got away from that case a few months in. But there's also value to Jake Paul's name. Okay, there's more value to his name, and that case got dropped.
The risk is worth the reward. The risk is
but Rolly, is he really bringing up enough views to where you're like, yeah, I'm going to take this chance with this guy?
I mean, the thing is that, again, where does Tank go from here? I think moving up to 147, regardless of how bad Keith Thurman looks, is a bad idea, man. And the thing is, when you're messing with those big guys, that's what happened with Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner moved up from 135 to 147 to fight Maidana. Well, first he fought Malignaggi, and then he fights Maidana. Listen, at that time, Broner, believe it or not, he was a really fantastic fighter. I know we remember him now as an asshole, but he was a really good fighter back then. Yeah. And had they been the same weight, I think Broner would have pulled it out, but they weren't. And Maidana was just too strong, and such a power puncher. and just really put it on Adrian Broner. Won a legitimate decision. Yeah, dropped him twice. So I think something similar can happen to Gervonta Davis, seeing Keith Thurman and go, oh, let me just move up and fight him. And then it's like, oh, no, this weight class is for a reason.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. But I do know, though, that they need to bring him up as a pay-per-view star, right? That's their goal. That's their end goal. And they need a name. And there's not a lot of names where he's at on his side of the street in his weight class that could bring him that next level. I think Keith Thurman has that name, and you could sell him moving up like that. All that seems to make sense to build his name as a pay-per-view star.
Yo, this whole cross the street bullshit, man. Yo, that shit is
annoying.
It's so annoying, man.
It's annoying.
Yo, I want to see. Yo, why can't they make Tank versus Lomachenko?
Well, to be fair, they brought it up. So I don't know if they're thinking it, whatever. They put it out there somewhat, right? They recently just put that up. That's the fight to make. Me and you talked about this before. That's the fight to make. That's the one that to me, if they fight each other, I would be like, that's probably the best guy at 135, in my personal opinion. If they fight each other, whoever wins that. But yeah, man, it's not going to happen. It doesn't seem like. It doesn't seem like
it's a and you know, Lomachenko, he's not a superstar, but he's definitely known amongst the boxing public because he fought on HBO back when HBO was the #1 boxing distributor, and now he fights on ESPN for free in front of network television. So he definitely has a name. Is he a superstar? Absolutely not. So I don't see why ESPN wouldn't work with Showtime and do a combined pay-per-view. Like the juice won't be worth the squeeze, I guess, and to some degree, but there still is some juice. There's still some money that can be made off that. And I feel like that fight sells anywhere from 400 to 450,000 pay-per-views. And the reason why I'm so confident in saying that is because this will be the first time Tank will be going into a fight where there's going to be people picking against him. Like, Is he going to be the favorite? Absolutely. Should he be the favorite? Absolutely. Now, but if you pick Loma, I wouldn't be like, what the hell? You don't know shit about boxing. I wouldn't argue. I mean, we'll have a debate, but I would be like, okay, and vice versa. If I pick Loma and you had Tank, you wouldn't look at me like I had 3 heads. You'd be like, okay, let's have a debate about it. And just off the strength of that and Tank being such a big name, I feel like it could really sell on pay-per-view.
Yeah, I think it could too. I think that fight has a lot of potential to be one of the higher selling Tank fights and to be just an excellent fight. And I really wish that's the fight that would make. That's the one I think is the obvious choice. If I had to pick someone in those weight classes who should fight each other, it's those two.
Man, I really hope it gets made because that's just a fantastic fight. By the way, I don't know if you know, this was reported 30 minutes ago. Let me screen share so you probably don't know. Charlo versus Castano is now official, signed, sealed, and delivered for the undisputed 154-pound championship. It's going on March 19th in LA. It's at the Crypto.com arena, which used to be called the Staples Center. So for you 154-pound fans, that's a great fight. It was a great first fight. You remember?
It was a great first fight. Great first fight. They got swept under the rug kind of because everybody thought it was everybody said robbery when it was just a close fight. But that was a very good fight. The first fight. I expect the second one to be just as good.
Yeah. Who did you think that won the first fight?
When I first saw it, so I'll just be honest with you. When I first saw it, I thought Castano won, right? And then I unboxed Twitter, see everybody reacting to it. I said, I got to watch this again. When I scored it again, I scored it for Charlo. So it was a close fight. You know what I mean? It's a close fight. There was a lot of – the thing you have to realize, like when people score fights and stuff like that, is that rounds that are close and you feel the guy won, that means, though, that round is close, so it could go the other way. So you have to always assume, like, that round was super close. It could probably went that way. So this is, like, where the score could be at. You have to know that gap of where the score could be at at all times.
Yeah, I'm old school. I score fights on my notepad. I'll show you right here. I have a notepad.
I did too.
Yeah, so like I have an app on my phone and I just never use it. Like so point is, anytime there's a round like how you say where there's a close round, but I think fighter X won, I make a little star note next to the fight next to the scorecard where it's like, I think it could have gone either way. I just favored this guy. So when a decision is announced, I go, all right, well, I had it scored 7-5, but I scored 2 with stars. So that means these 2 rounds, it could easily be 7-5 the other way. So But that fight, I thought Castano won. Like I only saw it once. I saw it live, like on TV, not like and I thought Castano won, but I was okay with the draw. That was my mentality. I didn't think Charlo could have gotten the decision. But again, you rewatched it, so I need to rewatch it. But yeah,
it's just it's a very hard fight to score. It's very subtle. A lot of the punches and stuff like that. It's very subtle. It's a real hard fight to score. I like 100% agree. Like I can see the debate happening. I just think that when a network shows the fight and they go to the guy and he said, "What's the scorecard?" Right? He should give a range of where the fight could be at. Right? He should say like, "There's this many close rounds." And that would allow a range of this kind of score to this kind of score, right? He should have that. So people aren't just like, well, this guy had it like this. Because, you know what I mean? That's kind of just
what they should do. What they should do is what I do. Put the unofficial scorecard and then put an asterisk on rounds that the guy thought could go either way.
They did do that on DAZN for a little bit because Bill Simmons, he suggested on his podcast. So DAZN did it like the next week, and it was a smart idea. And then they just got away from it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get why they would do that. By the way, DAZN is scamming money. Yo, can we get some fights? What the fuck?
Remember that they have the ban in Europe for they can't have live events in January.
Fuck Europe. I'm not worried about Europe. I'm worried about America, man. Can we get some fights?
They got a good lineup coming up. They got a good lineup coming up.
Oh, man, all those little guys, Chocolatico,
the fight this weekend. The fight this weekend. Bam versus Quadras is a damn good fight. And everyone listening, if you're not familiar with the names or you don't like the small guys, this is going to be a hell of a fight. It's a late replacement fight, and it's Bam moving up from, and I don't even want to call it moving up. If you're from 108 pounds to 116, you're all the same weight class. I don't give a damn. Those guys win like 5 different divisions. No, he's fighting Quadras, moving up to 115 to fight Quadras, and it's going to be an excellent fight. And Bam's a rising prospect, suddenly into a title picture, right? Fighting for a title shot. This is an excellent fight, and you should tune into DAZN and watch it. And that's a free commercial for DAZN right there, because that's going to be a damn good fight.
Yeah. What do you make of the comparisons of Bam Rodriguez and Lomachenko?
To Lomachenko? I mean, he has I guess that the angles footwork. He could get his offense out, and the angles he finds, like, because he's very good legs. If you watch his legs, that's one thing to watch, is the way he adjusts his legs in tight spots. And that's, if you can do that, that's a big advantage in boxing. It's not talked about enough. Like the things that Lomachenko could do in tight areas, and people want to say like he's overblown and everything like that. Not that. Like, not a lot of guys can do what he does in tight areas. The angles he gets, the movement, the change of, he's at one spot to another spot while, like, in a tight area. Because one thing he explained was, like, being able to fight in multiple ranges, right? And being able to fight in the inside, be able to fight the mid-range and long range. Lomachenko can do all those. I do see that in Bam. I never really thought of that comparison, but yeah, now that you mention it, I can see that.
Yeah. Talking about Loma a little bit since we're already talking about him. Man, me and my brother, we went to see Lomachenko at Madison Square Garden against Richard Comey.
Okay.
Man, that dude is like magic, man. Like, just seeing how slick and he was like water. Like, man, he wasn't getting touched at all. Like, it was like a real like. I had went to the Teofimo Cambosos fight. So that fight, obviously, you remember, that fight was a fucking brawl. So I had the time of my life. And then the next fight, the Lomachenko fight, was like 2-3 weeks later, and I went to that fight. And obviously, it wasn't as a competitive fight, so I didn't enjoy the fight as much, but I enjoyed his performance, man. Like, it was so dominant, and he had so much showmanship when he heard him, and he heard the 10-second clap, and then he was like, "Don't worry, just go to your corner." And he walked to the corner, and then the bell rung, or when he dropped him. And then told his corner, like, yo, throw in the towel. Like, he was showing so much swag there. I really enjoyed watching him live, man.
Yeah, he seems like he knows that he's got maybe like his final run in him, and he's trying to get all, really make it look. When he beats a guy, he wants you to know he's really beating the guy. He's really he's being definitely more aggressive. You look at the Nakatani fight, like, he was way more aggressive in that fight. I don't think a lot of people thought he was going to bring him to Nakatani, right? In that fight.
Yo, he showed so much skills in that fight. Yeah. Like, I get mad. I don't know why I get mad so much when people try to shit on Lomachenko, because I'm like, bro, you can't ignore what he's like, the skills you see. And people want to say, oh, who's he fought? He beat Nicholas Walters. He beat Gary Russell. He beat Pedraza and Linares and all the guys you people trying to pump up the Linares win for Devin Haney, pump up the win for Pedraza for Tank. All right, well, so did Lomachenko.
If you go right, it's someone that doesn't like Lomachenko, and you say any of those wins, there will be a reason why Lomachenko won. There won't be a credit for Lomachenko. There'll be a reason why he won. Like, Nicholas Walters was, head wasn't in the game, or he had to wait for that fight, or couldn't get a good training camp. There's a lot of excuses, right? Before the Comey fight, Comey's washed. Since when? He just smoked the guy he just fought.
Yeah,
right. So when is he washed? All of a sudden, he's washed. I understand there's more to it, right? Like, especially on boxing Twitter, there's more to it as far as like why people don't like him. And, I'm sure there are dumb fans on Twitter that do like him, and they probably hurt the product that, people want to root against him. It happens, but I'm not going to deny the skill that I'm seeing.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what the fuck people watching. That footwork, head movement, angles. Man, the guy's a pleasure to watch, man. The guy's a pleasure to watch. Now, is he an all-time great? Probably not, but in my book, he's a Hall of Famer. I had Jake Donovan on. He said he doesn't think Lomachenko's a Hall of Famer. What do you think?
He's a Hall of Famer because and I'm not even going to say people say like, the amateur. He moved up multiple weight classes and won championships, right? He was
the quickest 3-division world champion in boxing history.
Usually like done. He needs a little bit more names on his resume. I give him that, but a lot of times it's because he can't get them, or the whole cross the street type of thing. But Tank needs more names on his resume. Haney needs more names on his resume. Teofimo needs more names on the resume. Everyone needs more names on the resume, right? And I think that Loma, this last run, I expect him to get some good fights. He might even get Shakur. He might even get Valdez, whoever wins that fight. He might get Haney. He might get Kambosos. He might get Tank. You know what I mean? So I expect some big names under his resume.
I want to see obviously we already spoke on wanting to see him in Tank, but I want to see him in Haney. Haney hasn't shown me anything impressive. And if he wants to impress me, beating Lomachenko, and let's say he stops Lomachenko, that would impress me. I would be impressed. I would give him his full credit. And
I'm not saying he can't beat Lomachenko, but I will say he can't stop Lomachenko. I don't think Haney can stop anyone. But he doesn't have a lot of power. But he's good.
You think he beats Lomachenko? You think Haney beats Lomachenko?
No, I don't think he beats him. But I'm not saying he can't beat him. I'm just saying that I know for a fact he can't stop him. I know for a fact.
I don't want to discount Devin Haney's power just yet, only because one, he's not a grown man yet. So I don't know if his man strength has, come in yet, as well as he's fighting at 135. He's mentioned that he's had trouble in the past making the weight. So I don't know if moving up to 140, he gets a little stronger.
But what examples do we have where a guy moves up and he suddenly hits harder? Like, there's not a lot of examples where a guy like power completely changes as he moves up. Like, there's just not a lot of examples. I think someone's going to say, the one I could think of right now is someone's going to say Canelo at 167, but it's because who he fought at 160 they were tough fights. Yeah, Daniel Jacobs is a tough fight. Golovkin's a tough fight. Yeah,
he fought some Triple G. He fought some tough guys at 160.
Yeah, I don't think Haney's power is going to come. I mean, I'm be honest with you. I feel like that's wishful thinking for him.
But I guess. I don't know. Again, I'm hard on Haney. And
no, you are. You're hard on him.
People try to say I'm a hater. I just don't see it, man. I just don't see it. And if he proves me wrong, hey, I'm be the first one to go on live and say, yo, he knocked Lomachenko. He outboxed Tank, man. I got to give him credit, but I just don't see it happening, man. I really don't. I really, really don't.
Yeah, he's not consistent. He's not consistent with his performances. There's always like a shaky part to it. So when you walk away from it, you're like, he won, but it was shaky, right? It was shaky at points.
Yeah, and the thing is, he's very susceptible to left hooks. And it's like, you're susceptible to left hooks. All right, what do you think Ryan Garcia is going to do to you?
I pick Ryan Garcia to beat him. All
right, so what do you think Tank Davis, who's a southpaw, going to do to you?
I think that, I wouldn't pick him to beat a lot of these guys, but I think he's a very good fighter. I just think he's in a weight division with a lot of very good fighters.
I just think he's a really good talent who has a lot of things to work on and has no power. And having no power, it really fucks with you, because that lets me know you can't keep a fighter off of you. When you can't keep a fighter off of you, that is going to help. Like, you may get hurt, and every fighter has gotten hurt. Floyd Mayweather has gotten hurt. It's going to be moments where you're going to get hurt in the ring. And if you don't have power to keep the guy off of you, it's gonna be difficult for you to succeed in the sport of boxing.
Well, yeah, the guy's it's you know, if you can't keep him off you, he's always in it, right? Because he's always putting pressure. He can always land a shot, and you know, people want to say like, you know, well, it's not like Floyd had great power. Floyd had some pop to him. Now
he just started breaking his hands. Once he started breaking his hands,
he didn't put his foot on the gas because he started realizing like, why take those chances, right? I can just win this fight this way. Why look to get the stoppage? Don't need to. Haney can't. He just doesn't have that kind of power. He just doesn't have that kind of pop.
I don't even want to take it that far with Mayweather. With Mayweather, I think he could have gotten knockouts even when he was in the welterweight division. I just think he learned his lesson from when at 130 and 135. Man, he broke his hands at least 3-4 times. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I think the Chop Corley fight, he broke his hand. I think he took a knee in that fight.
Yeah, no. He didn't take a knee. But he's broken his hand multiple times.
No, he's taken a knee for a hand break before.
No. Never.
I'm telling you, he has.
Nah, the one time he broke his hand, I believe it was against Jesus Chavez at 135. He broke his hand and he kind of kneeled down, not his glove, his knee. He kind of just went like, and then the referee gave him a 10 count.
Okay, but he never touched the floor, though, right?
He never touched the floor. He just went
okay.
And the referee just thought he touched the floor and gave him a 10 count, 8 count. But yeah, I think, again, getting back to Floyd Mayweather, I think it was more like he didn't want to risk breaking his hands. So he was very selective. That's why he was so accurate. And his punch output was low. He would throw 30 punches, but land 25 of them. So it's like, he should have thrown more punches. Like, not really. He was so accurate.
As long as you're winning the fight in a dominant fashion, I mean, how can you complain with it?
How are you with boxing history? Are you a boxing history buff or not?
So somewhat. I mean, I wouldn't like. There's guys that are way better, more knowledgeable than me. But like, why would it?
I was gonna ask you. Do you have a top 5 all time?
Top 5 all time off the top of my head. My number one
is Sugar Ray. Order. I'm not going to put that pressure on you.
Okay. Well, okay. Sugar Ray Leonard's definitely in there. I don't think his resume can be matched really by anyone. I think the guys he's beat are, you know, top guys. Sugar Ray Robinson would be in there, but the thing is that Sugar Ray Robinson fought such a long time ago that I do not think that the fighting was at the level that it is today, right? But Sugar Ray Robinson was, if you're looking at like most dominant, he's the most dominant guy ever.
He's the only boxer to win Fight of the Decades in 2 decades.
Yeah, so I would have Sugar Ray Robinson. I would have Muhammad Ali. Right, I'm gonna have Muhammad Ali in there. Now, Muhammad Ali's getting in there a lot because also name value. Right, I'm gonna have Muhammad Ali in there.
Bro, he's a gold medalist. Sonny,
he's great. But I think that if you start comparing to the like with a lot of greats, I think you probably get some guys above him. But I think Ali's, you know, great. I'm trying to think off the top of my head right now.
You got guys like Duran.
Chavez, I think I'll have Duran, and then I'll have Duran, and then Mayweather. I think Mayweather is the best defensive fighter I've ever seen in my life. So I think that, and I don't think that's necessarily even close to anyone. I mean, I think that when he chose to not get hit, he would not get hit. When he, I've never seen someone stay in the pocket, right? Let you get in on him, and you're still not touching him.
Floyd Mayweather, he literally has the best. The reason why I don't have him number 1 pound for pound all time is because, and his resume is fine. I'm not saying he has a weak resume, but when you compare it to Sugar Ray Leonard, you know, it's just like, damn, like how could you have him over Sugar Ray?
No,
I don't give a fuck about the non-losses. The him never having the loss. Yo, you can't compare him beating Benitez in his first world championship fight. Yeah. He's fighting an all-time great, and he knocks him out.
Yeah, he goes on from the Benitez to the Hagler run. It's like a great run. It's an all-time great run.
He beat Hagler for a 2-year layoff with no tune-up.
Yeah, and moved to middleweight to do it. And Hagler really is one win away from being in this list of top 5 guys, because if he beats Leonard, right, he's probably in the top 5, and it's change his whole career perspective. I mean, Hagler's all-time great, no doubt about it. But he would be in the list.
To me, I'll give you my top 5. Number 1 for me, I know I had you not put it in order, but number 1 for me is Henry Armstrong. Henry Armstrong.
You're gonna go the old school route. It's true, but I'm just gonna say like Henry Armstrong, amazing fighter from everything I read. It's not like I'm familiar with him, 100% like watch his fights and everything. But yeah, excellent fighter. Actually, wasn't his real name either. Henry Armstrong's not his real name.
No.
So back in the day, what the guys used to do is they would have they would have a career, right? They would have like maybe they would have a pro fight or an amateur career, something like that. And then
Yeah.
they wanted to get back into the amateurs. They wanted to come back. Like if say they want pro,
Oh
come
yeah,
back in
you're right.
amateur,
I did read
they would
about
grab
that.
someone else's name, yeah, and then go back into the amateurs.
Well, Sugar Ray Robinson, his name is
It's
not
not
Ray
his real
Robinson.
name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but his is for a different reason. He was, I believe, 14, and to fight in the New York Golden Gloves, you had to be 16. So he had a friend that his name was Ray Robinson, and so he used his birth certificate to go, and he just kept the name for the rest of his career.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but the reason why I have Henry Armstrong number 1 is because he fought in the Joe Louis era, so he couldn't like, you know, Joe Louis was the biggest star, heavyweight champion. Henry Armstrong was the featherweight champion, so he needed to become like a legit draw. So he moved up from featherweight to welterweight.
Yeah, one lightweight and then welterweight, and fought
No. He went from featherweight to welterweight, then moved back down and won lightweight. And he
fought a middleweight, if I'm correct, right? He fought a middleweight as well, but didn't win the fight.
He fought at middleweight. He didn't win. He had a draw,
but competitive.
He had a competitive draw with a guy who had a piece of the middleweight champion.
Yes,
he wasn't the lineal. But my point is, yo, he was a lineal champion in 3 weight classes at the same time. Yo, you the best ever. You the best ever in my book.
Yeah.
So he's.
I always want to back you on those things, like with the old guys like that. And then I think about basketball, and they'll show like Will Chamberlain scoring 100 on like guys that look like they're farmers, and then I'll be like, I don't know if that's that impressive. I'm not sure.
No, but I'll speak specifically to Henry Armstrong. Henry Armstrong was a fantastic inside fighter. If you look on Google, on YouTube, you type in Henry Armstrong inside fighting, he would use his head, and not in a headbutting kind of way. He would place his head, maneuver you where he wants you to land his punches. And he would kind of just lean on you the whole time. Kind of somewhat similar to what Andre Ward used to do. So he was a real skillful fighter as far as from the inside. And I understand what you're saying. Like, would he have beaten, Mayweather? Probably not.
I don't necessarily love those arguments and everything like that. So, he's great in his era. I just think that maybe those guys face like tougher.
The way I look at it is how good were you in your era?
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair way to look at it.
And to me, if you a 3-division world champion at the same time, lineal in all 3, like, I got to give you credit. And you had a competitive fight against a middleweight champion. I got to give it to you. It to you. Number 1. Then as far as the rest, I'll say out of order: Sugar Ray Robinson, Muhammad Ali, Mayweather, and Pacquiao.
And remember, Ali was robbed years of his career as well. So, they didn't let him fight. And that was probably his prime of his career.
It was his prime. Yeah. And Muhammad Ali is my favorite all-time fighter. More than Teofimo, more than Tyson, who I got behind me and is from my hometown, more than anybody. Muhammad Ali is my number 1 favorite of all time. I love Muhammad Ali. Everything
he's the greatest bridgerweight fighter of all time. I agree.
I think he would have been competitive in any era. He was too fast.
He's slick. He was
slick. I read his book, and he spoke on how he looked at boxing as science. He said that when he first started training, he was training with a white trainer. And the white trainer used to have him used to want to make him prove to him that he's tough. He used to brawl and stuff like that. And he said that when he started working with this black trainer who was in the other side of Louisville in a dangerous area, he would go there and he was like, I want to teach you the science of it, which is to hit and not get hit. And he taught him how to be loose. That's why Muhammad Ali used to bounce on his toes and do all this and fight with you're never supposed to lean straight back as a boxer.
Yeah.
He would break all the rules, but it worked for him. And it's like, to me, you look at his resume, he got wins over Foreman, Foreman, who was a gold medalist, Joe Frazier, who was a gold medalist, Sonny Liston, and he himself was a gold medalist. It's like he has to be in everybody's top 5.
Yeah, and if you look at a lot of problems, like guys in especially lower level gyms, and they bring in new people to teach them boxing, is they teach them how they fight, right? Usually it's like, this is what I know, so this is how you're gonna fight, and it's like you can't rob natural creativity or naturally what someone's body does. And with Ali is a perfect example, right? It's like someone would got him and said, no, don't do that, right? But that's what he's great at. That's his body naturally does that. You got to exploit what he's great at, and that's luckily, he was smart enough to catch that.
Speaking to your point, there was this trainer, my trainer actually. I never had an amateur fight, but he was just worked me out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I sparred a couple times, but nothing serious. His name is Felipe Gomez, a retired police officer. Shout out to him. His mentality, he used to tell me, he goes, when I get a fighter and I see him sparring and I see he's kind of scared of the punches, I try to make him a defensive fighter. Because I try to let him know, all right, when you're scared, do this move, do that move.
Yeah.
And he goes, if I have a fight who's too overly aggressive and wants to brawl, wants to fight, he goes, that one I'll train to be more aggressive. And he goes, a lot of times you have to train for the personality.
Yes,
some people are just naturally more aggressive, and some people are more cautious. But that just because you're cautious and you're scared of the punches, you're supposed to be scared of the punches because they hurt. So if that's your mentality and you're so worried about getting hit, okay, you're so worried about getting hit, let's teach you how to not get hit and hit that person. But if you're somebody who's not scared and you want to get in there and you want to impose yourself, he'll teach you maybe a little bit of patience, but he'll teach you how to set up a knockout and teach you how to be more aggressive. And he was a really, really smart dude.
That guy's actually brilliant, because I 100% agree with that, because what we have now, and it's going to hurt, like, as fighters go on, right? Like, you get these guys, you get a factory training, right? Where what you want, right, is what you could teach, right? I could teach a pressure style, right? Inside fighting. I'm going to get a bunch of guys and I'm just going to run them through that. And I don't care if they get better or not. The guy that can mostly do my style, he will prevail. But then that means you're throwing away all these other guys that have all these other abilities. You're not teaching them correctly. So then they get, in their mind, it's like a block where it's like, okay, this is not my personality. My personality isn't coming out in my style. And that's like a big problem, especially in an amateur program, especially coming up, like teaching young people when they come in, young fighters and all that, is that you get them in this one thing and it's like, this is what I do. That's not the right way. Your personality is going to dictate your style. It really always will be like that.
No, and that's why I'm such a big boxing fan. I'll tell my girl all the time. I'm like, the reason I'm such a big boxing fan is because boxing is a microcosm of life. Like, what are you gonna do when things get tough? When you're losing, are you gonna quit? Are you gonna fight? You're gonna keep going? What are you gonna do? And how prepared are you for life? And that'll let me know if you're in shape in the ring. So that's kind of the way I look at boxing, as a legit art. It is an art. It's a martial art. So that's the way I look at boxing, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. So if and when I ever train somebody, that's the way I would go about it. Go about his personality.
Yeah,
teach him the heart, what it takes to be successful, but within his personality.
Yeah, that's the best way to go about it.
Yeah. So you used to train at Wild Card Boxing Gym out in LA, right?
Yeah. I trained there. I trained there for 10 years, actually.
10 years?
Yeah, 10 years. I trained there.
Yo, you don't got no stories from there, from training there, meeting people, Amir Khan?
I sparred like some of the best fighters in the world. Yeah, I was in
Who
there.
You spar?
Yeah, I sparred. I've been in there with Zerto Ramirez. I've been in there with Ray Beltran. I've been in there with a lot of good fighters. Yeah, high level fighters.
Yeah, I'm sure they went easy on you.
Oh, man, tough ring wars there. I don't think they got any easy days there.
Yeah, I actually sparred. Did you watch the Contender that was like 2 years ago?
The one that Adams won? I think Adams won.
The one where Shane Mosley's son was in it.
Yeah, Shane Mosley's son. I actually trained with Shane Mosley's son.
Oh, yeah. Well, the guy he beat, the guy he stopped, Devon Lee. It was his first fight. He was the first fight. It was actually the first fight of the show. Devon Lee. He's from Queens, New York. Me and him sparred before. Obviously, he used to take it easy on me. He was a 4-time New York Golden Glove finalist. And and then I also sparred a 4-time New York Golden Glove winner in Will Rosinski. I don't know if you remember Will Rosinski. He fought Kelly Pavlik. He fought Edwin Rodriguez. But either way, like I sparred some of those guys, and you don't have no cool stories as far as anything that happened. The gym.
Well, I got started for myself. Is I went in there and they told me hey, we got a bronze medalist for you today. He's coming in. Freddie Roach is going to start training him. I want you to spar him. So I said, I never turned down sparring in my life. I've never been like a guy. If Freddie Roach or someone else has thought about you over a thing and said, I want this guy to spar him, then I'm going to take advantage of it. And I went in there and I had a cheap headgear. I had bought a headgear. I was trying new headgears out. And I went to the shop, and it turned out it was like a knockoff shop. It wasn't the real shop for that brand. So I went in there, and the headgear got stuck under my nose, and I got caught with an uppercut, and I got my nose broken. My nose was straight sideways like that. And I went to go. I didn't know it was broken. I just felt it. I was like, oh, that hurt really bad. And when I went to go drink water in the water fountain, the whole blood just shot out in the thing. And they were pissed at me because they were like, oh, you got blood over the water fountain. I was like, my nose is sideways. I don't give a damn about your water fountain. I care about my face. So I can't breathe right since then.
How like were you an amateur boxer? How good were you that you was sparring bronze medalists?
I was pretty decent. I was never amateur. I fought in there. So what I did was I wanted to become a pro boxer, right? That was my goal. So I went there. 18 started boxing, right? And then for 2 years, I worked in there, and I would work with the amateurs. And then after 2 years, they started throwing me in with pros. So they were just like, okay, you look like you seem like you're good enough to go on pros. So I started working my way up with pros. And then from there, like 8 years of just sparring pros. I want to say, and it's probably, kind of sound ridiculous, but I think in that 8 years, I sparred the most than any person in that gym because I sparred they sparred 3 times a week. I was there every day, 3 times a week for 8 years.
But why didn't you pursue an amateur career? It sounds like you was getting to work.
Well, no, because I was just gonna go pro. So I have one pro fight. I'm 0-1, so I'm not trying to like brag or anything. I'm 0-1.
Oh, okay.
But I have one pro fight. I fought at the StubHub Arena, which is now what's the the ones on Showtime? Yeah, that one. Yeah, I fought there. Okay, I bought a Donnie Nietes undercard. I fought in his undercard. Okay. And I've been in there, like I have some names. I've been in there, Frankie Gomez. I've been with a lot of guys. Yeah,
that's impressive. I got a story about a broken nose. My brother, he was sparring, right? My brother's a heavyweight, big dude. Okay. And he was sparring a dude that ain't have that much experience, like, but he was, also a heavyweight, big guy. Yeah. He just didn't have enough experience. And my brother was like, don't worry, I'm gonna go easy on him. He was like, yo, Joel, work my corner. So I'm like, all right, I'm working his corner. And my brother's just laying on the ropes, letting the guy blast off.
Yeah.
But I know my brother could fight. My brother is nasty. My brother could fight. But I'm like, I understand you working with him. That doesn't mean just sit there and be a fucking punching bag. So he's on the ropes. And I'm like, yo, you can't let him just blast. And the guy was big. The guy was bigger than my brother. My brother's huge. I'm like, listen, I understand you working with him. Don't just let him blast off on you. He goes, yeah. He's just like I'm just working with him. I'm like, all right, but at least use your jab. Don't let him pound off on you. So he goes out and he does the same shit. He's leaning on the ropes. The guy's beating him up. And I'm like, open up a bit. My brother was like, all right. Caught him with a 1-2 and broke his nose, man.
Oh, yeah, I'm telling you that.
Yo, I felt like shit, man, because everybody then started blaming me, like, yo, the guy, he's an amateur boxer. Like,
yeah, they were working.
They were trying to work, but I was I wasn't saying blast his fucking head off. I was saying, but the crazy shit is when he got hit, he went he ducked down and he was like, ah. And my brother obviously wasn't gonna like continue and finish him off, but he's like, all right, like, come on. So when he looked up, his nose was over here. Like, this part of his nose was where it was supposed to be, and this part was like here. So he was like, he didn't even know his nose was broken. I was like, yo, no, his nose is broken.
Yeah.
And then he was like, what? And he looked in the mirror and he saw his nose. He was like, oh man. And it wasn't bleeding, which was weird.
Yeah.
His trainer straightens it and puts it back in place.
It shot out.
The blood just, it came out black.
That's what I think happened when I went in the water fountain. I think it's that my nose is crooked and I put like this, probably like that, like sleep, like it feels weird, and went like that and straightened my nose out, and blood just shot out all the thing.
Yeah,
I do have a funny story though. I got a story. Okay, so if you don't know if you remember Ishida, he fought Golovkin. Ishida fought.
Golovkin. Yeah, I remember. He fought also James Kirkland.
Yes, he did. Okay, so Ishida actually upset James Kirkland. So I was just starting to spar pros, right? And they didn't have a lot of guys Ishida's weight. And he was actually brought in there to fight Kid Chocolate. He was there to spar Kid Chocolate. He was going to get Kid Chocolate ready for his fight. So there was a point where Kid Chocolate didn't need sparring anymore. And Ishida is going to fight Golovkin in a week. He's gone to go fight Golovkin in a week.
And he's using you as a sparring partner?
They put me in there. And I was like, I'm like, this dude's going to spar Golovkin. And they're like, hey, you got to put it on him because he's going to fight Golovkin. He needs good sparring. I didn't have the capabilities really to be like high level sparring for him, but I went in there and we traded, right? And I landed a few shots and I was like, my dad goes, how's he gonna do? And I go, well, if I'm landing on him, it ain't gonna go good against Golovkin. He got knocked out in the first round against Golovkin.
So, no, I remember. It was like in Monaco, right? Or something like
that. Yeah. It was sparring. That's why he had to leave like a week early. So this was the last spar he's gonna get. It was against me. Okay, So if you could think, if it's the main sparring partner for that one, I'll take credit for it.
That's hilarious. I got another sparring story too. I was training, right? I was putting in a lot of hard work. I was running 5 miles a day. I was doing push-ups. I was trying to fight in the New York State Golden Glove, New York City Golden Gloves. I was training, I was sparring almost every day, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Almost too much, I feel. And so some guy comes in from I've never seen this dude. He comes into my gym, and my trainer goes, "Oh my God, I haven't seen you in so long." Gives him a hug, and he was like, he grabbed him and he was like, "Yo, this guy can beat anybody up in the gym." Like I don't know who this guy was.
Yeah.
The guy was like 152 pounds, like he fought like in that division. And at the time, I was gonna fight in the 178 division, so I was a light heavyweight. So I'm like, whatever, I ain't making nothing of it. So I'm warming up, I'm shadow boxing, whatever. I'm trying to work up a nice sweat. My coach, he goes, "Oh, you're gonna spar him." I was like, all right, whatever. In my head, I'm like, I'm gonna go easy on him. I'm not gonna blast off on a guy I weigh 25 pounds more than.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right. And he tells the other guy, "Yo, go easy on him though." I was so offended.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, I'm way bigger than him. You see me putting in all this work. And I turned around to my trainer. I was like, "Yo, I'm not here for no easy work. Let's go at it." And he was like, "No, he has so much more experience. He's stronger than you. He's fat. No, he was faster than you." I was like, "Yo, I'm stronger than him." He goes, "Yeah, but that in boxing is totally different." I was like, "All right, man, just let us spar and let's see how it happens." I beat the shit out of this dude. And you probably like, if you was to just walk in the gym, you probably be like, "This guy's a fucking asshole." The guy's way bigger. Guy. But I was so offended that my trainer told him to go easy on me. I'm like, do you not see all the work I'm putting in? Yo, I was beating him up, right? And at one point, I hit him to the body, and then he went, "Oh!" And as on his way down, I caught him with an uppercut. Boom. Bust his nose, bust his teeth. Like, I ain't break his teeth. I mean, bust his lip. He was bleeding everywhere. And then my trainer started saying, like, slow down. And I wasn't slowing down. So then he told me, all right, just go to the body. So I was ripping up his body. We were supposed to spar 5 rounds. We only sparred 2. And then he never came back to the gym.
He was done. You gave him a wake-up call. He was like, screw that.
No. And I kind of feel bad because the kid didn't do anything to me, you know? I was just so offended. I'm like, wait a minute. What do you mean? You're going to have a guy who weighs 25 pounds less than me go easy on me? I was like, nah, fuck that.
Who was he? I'm going to prove to you that. Why were they so high on him? Why did they think so highly on him?
I've never seen the kid. He said that he used to train him and that he was
that's the thing. Like right now, right? If I went to Wild Card now, some of the guys there, right? They'd probably be like, "Oh, get him in the ring." You know what I mean? I'll get beat down. Like it won't even be good. Like I'll look horrible in there. Like it won't even be good. It's just like they have a memory. They have a thought of you that doesn't exist anymore. That's what I feel like.
Yeah. No. I totally agree. Hold on, I got somebody complimenting you in the Easy Raw. Got good thought process and articulation. Glad and hope no effects from all sparring. Headgear must really help.
I appreciate it.
By the way, Isi Imisabi, yo, go to Easy Raw Podcast and subscribe, man. Go subscribe to my guy's channel, man. I'm telling y'all, he got some really good content over there. I'm gonna screen share his shit again because I need him. I need my listeners to show some support, man. Y'all gonna see him on this channel a lot more. Easy Raw Podcast, boxing and MMA. Go run over there, hit that subscribe button, then come back and watch us finish this conversation. But please, Easy Raw Podcast, boxing and MMA. Go subscribe now. Not later, not after the stream. Do it right now. And comment on his last video. Broadway sent you. So what else is going on in boxing you want to talk about? Or you got some more sparring stories?
Man, I'm trying to think.
You know who I met is a fucking asshole, Joe Smith. Who? Joe Smith is a fucking piece of shit. The light heavyweight?
The light heavyweight, yeah. Joe Smith?
I was interning, and I was interning for a news article, and I got a press pass and everything to go cover this boxing event, and he was the main event. And he got touched up in the fight. He fought a journeyman. He was supposed to win the fight, and he did, but he didn't look good. I came up to him afterwards. I was dressed in a fucking suit, dressed nice. You know, I went above and beyond because I was an intern. You know, I want to get hired again. I was like, hey, you know, I want to talk about your win and this, that. He just went like, get the fuck out of here. Like, man, I'm not doing no interviews. I'm sorry, guy. I'm sorry. Like, kind of just dusted me off.
Yeah.
Yo, he was like 13-1. Like, he wasn't like not
yeah, it wasn't no name or anything. Yeah,
bro. Like I just took so much offense that he kind of like waved me like nah, bro. He was like, sorry, get out of here, man. I'm not doing no interviews. Nah, get out of here. I was like, yeah. Ever since that, I've been rooting against Joe Smith every fucking time.
You know what? Fight. Just to back your thing up, I think Joe Smith is one of the most overrated fighters. Not just from that story. He is one of the most overrated. Like, he's the best promotion job that Top Rank has ever done. Because we've already seen him get exposed by Bavo. Like, and somehow the people are still talking like if he's a top guy at that weight class. It's like, it's unbelievable.
But one thing I will say, and I'm not a hater, just because I don't like it, I'm not gonna hate. Motherfucker got power. I seen him spar at my gym, and
there's a lot of guys with power, though. There's a lot of guys with power. Like, yeah, he has power, but there's a lot of guys with power.
You know, there's rumors that him and Better be of that they're very close in negotiations as far as making a unification match.
Let's go. Let me go through Joe Smith's resume, because I've had this happen. I think I've heard on Chicken Talk. I've had this argument before, right? He beats Fonfara, who's Fonfara's biggest win is Chavez Jr., right? He beats Fonfara. Chavez Jr. has no success past 160. Fonfara beats him. He's a star for some reason. Joe Smith beats him, upsets him. He beats Bernard Hopkins, who's 50 years old. Not 40 years old, not 45 years old. He's 50 years old. He fights. He beats Alvarez, right?
Alvarez, that was a good win.
Okay, Alvarez has a good win over Kovalev.
Kovalev. He knocked out
But
Kovalev.
Also remember, Kovalev comes back and unanimous decision gets that win right? Gets that win back against Alvarez. It wasn't a close fight the second time they fought. It wasn't. It was, and Joe Smith because it beats him. So was Alvarez's win against Kovalev a little fluky? Maybe, right? If you look at the evidence after the fact, right? Hindsight being 2020, maybe. But for some reason, I'm being told that he's one of the best resumes at 175. I don't buy it. Now I'm going to be here the voice of reasoning against it.
Nah, listen, man. You're not gonna get me here and defend this motherfucker. Fuck you. He definitely, and not just because I don't like him. He definitely don't have the best resume at 175. That's a dumbass shit for somebody to say that.
Oh, there's that argument is being had.
Well, whoever is that's somebody you just hang up the phone on, you block them, you do whatever. But he's 28-3 with 22 knockouts. That's impressive to me, man. Out of your 28 wins, 22 of them are by knockout.
No, yeah, that's
and
good.
Again,
that's good. I'm not gonna
I'm from New York. He's from Long Island, New York, but still New York. We know a lot of the same people, and I'm telling you, everybody comes away with the same, like, no, motherfucking crack. I know a lot of people that sparred him or they all come away going, nah, this motherfucker can punch. So, and we've seen Better Beef hit the floor before, and Better Beef is a brawler. So you go in with a brawler and the guy got popped, legitimate pop, he could have knock you out.
I think it's gonna be a very eye-opening fight for Joe Smith Jr. Defenders. That fight, I think that's gonna be a very one-sided fight. I think Better Beef is gonna have his way with that fight. I personally,
I'm gonna love every fucking second.
Yeah, there you go. That'll be your revenge. Be your payback right there.
Nah, I'm joking. I don't take it that personal, but I just really don't fuck with him. I'm like, after that, I'm like, it's kind of like, how they say first impressions are very important.
Yeah.
That's my first impression of ever meeting him, ever having a conversation with him, was him kind of shooing me away. And when I was a fucking 19-year-old intern, I was like, you know what? Fuck this nigga, man. Like,
I'm trying to think of like, I met a lot of fighters. I'm trying to think of ones I didn't like. There's not a lot. Really, honestly,
that's the only. There's a lot of
good people.
Yeah.
I think the one that like kind of rubbed me the wrong way, I guess, was Peter Quillen, Kid Chocolate.
Kid Chocolate,
Quillen. Yeah. But when people are training, they have certain mindsets. You know what I mean? And maybe he needs to keep that mindset, right, to keep him, going 100% with his training. So it's hard to say like, oh, he kind of rubbed me the wrong way. He's training. You know what I mean? I don't know. But he did like. He did when I told him that I was like 160 pounds, and I wasn't known to be like, oh, this guy's a threat to what I have. No, it wasn't even close to that, right? But he did like kind of treat it like that. Honestly, he did kind of treat it like that, like if I was the competition or something like that. And yeah, he was just kind of like, he talked for sure, like he for sure talked a lot. And I was trying to think like, should I be talking back? But I'm like, if we fight, like I already know what's gonna happen. He's gonna sleep me. So it's like it's a weird situation when you kind of know that in the back of your head.
That honestly, that's real corny. Like you're gonna trash talk a guy who has
I'm
zero amateur fights.
Really. Yeah, I'm just a guy training at the gym, but he was a little arrogant, whatever. But he was great. He was a good fighter. He was a very good fighter.
Yeah. Do you remember Junior Jones? He beat
Junior Jones.
Barrera. He's from Brooklyn too. I met him at a fight, and again, it was the same. It was the same event as Joe Smith. The incident. It was the same event. I was an intern, and he had a press pass. I guess he probably knew the promoter. Promoter probably gave him a press pass, and he sits next to me. I was like, yo, Junior Jones, like, I'm a big fan. Like, I remember you beat Marco Antonio Barrera. And he just looked at me and he was like, I was like, damn, this guy's a fucking asshole. In my head, I said that. And he was like, nah, I'm just fucking with you. I'm just fucking with you. What's up? What's up? I was like, oh, man. I was like, bro, you almost just ruined my whole experience, man. Like, he was like, nah. I'm just messing with you. He goes, what's your name? Where do you work? Or whatever, this, that, and the third. He's a little punch drunk, but he was cool though. He was cool.
Yeah. There's a lot of good people. Like a lot of the fighters that you do see, there a lot of them are very cool, very humble. It's a very humbling sport. So there's a lot of guys that are very humble, very cool, and very down to earth. So that's my experience with most fighters.
No, the thing is that a lot of these guys come from humble beginnings, and
and
everybody in the gym, including Mayweather, including Pacquiao, everybody has gotten their ass whooped in the gym.
So it's a humbling sport.
There's a sense of being. You learn how to be humble because in the gym, there's one day that you're just not gonna have it. You feel a little sluggish, and there's some days where you feel you're at your best. So one day you're feeling a little sluggish, and some guy's feeling it. He's at his best, and that guy's nowhere near in your class. There's a possibility he may get the better of you. So you kind of get humble. Another boxer I met is Andre Berto. I met him at the Cotto Yuri Foreman fight in Yankee Stadium, and he was very standoffish, and people were coming up to him, and he was just like not talking to nobody. He was just taking a picture, and they were like, "Yo, I'm a big fan. I'm from Florida, just like you." And he was just like,
the Andre Berto had he had a podcast going. I don't know if he still does. It was pretty good though. I was like kind of like, oh, maybe this is like another thing for him. But
I don't know. I seen him on Showtime. I don't know if he's working with Showtime or doing anything like that. But I seen him on Showtime, and he was giving Caleb Plant mad love. This was right after the Canelo fight, like a week or two later. Caleb Plant was on Showtime, and Andre Berto was interviewing him with a host of other guests or like workers, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, have you seen? Hold on, let me screen share this real quick. I don't know if you can see it from your phone screen, but for the people watching at home, Michael Benson has announced that Errol Spence versus Yordanis Ugas in a 3-belt WBA, WBC, IBF welterweight world title unification fight is reportedly tentatively scheduled to take place at the AT&T Stadium in Texas in April. Wow, finally they announced the fight. It feel like that's the route they were going, but they finally somehow reporting that there's tentatively agreement to make it in Dallas in April. So April seems like it's going to be a stacked month in terms of fights.
So we have this is the February pay-per-view for Fox pay-per-view, right? You got Thurman this weekend.
Thurman, yes.
You had Charles Martin, Luis Ortiz in January. Now this one's in April, so they're obviously going to skip March with their pay-per-view, but they're going to go April. So what I remember, I think I heard correctly in rumors where they're going to have 10 pay-per-views this month, right? Similar to UFC model.
10 pay-per-views a year?
This year, yes. Fox pay-per-view will be 10 pay-per-views a year. They're obviously using their prelims, right, for the pay-per-views as their Fox cards, regular Fox cards. Like this weekend, they're supposed to have Jesus Ramos, right, as the main event on their Fox card. And that would have got him a lot of attention, but his brother had to pull out of the fight, or Suicidal Lopez had to pull out the fight. So then they moved him to the pay-per-view card, which I think in a way kind of hurts him because he would have more eyes on him on Fox.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like the undercard for tomorrow this Saturday.
Oh, really?
Nah, because the thing is that like this is where me and you gonna debate. It's like, none of these fights matter. Like, there's no belts involved.
Well, no, I don't think that's true because Neary, maybe no belts involved. Like I said, I don't really care about the belts, but Neary versus what kind of slipping his name right now? Castro, right?
Yeah,
correct on that. Yeah, Neary versus Castro is a very good fight, and those are two guys that at 122 are contenders for sure. Even though the Neri just did get stopped by Brandon Figueroa, who was probably a nightmare matchup for him personally. But this is a very good matchup for him. Should be a very interesting fight.
Yeah, that's probably the only fight. Like as far as the who is Leo Santa Cruz fighting? Oh,
Leo Santa Cruz is fighting Carbajal.
Yeah, Carbajal, Keenan Carbajal, which is
he's not very good. He's not very good. I'll give you that.
At all. He's the nephew of Michael Carbajal.
Yeah, and that's a tune-up fight. I'll give you that. But then you have Jesus Ramos, right? We just talked about, and he's fighting the guy that I believe beat Julian Williams. Am I correct on that?
Vladimir Hernandez. I never heard of this guy.
I think he beat J-Rock. If I'm looking.
Oh, he did. He did on the
undercard
Tyson Fury Wilder, right?
Exactly. So that's a very good fight, and that's a good fight for Jesus Ramos, who's coming up.
To be honest, I've never been high on J-Rock. I mean,
he's a world champ. I mean,
he is. But then he got knocked out by Jason Rosario. And listen, I'm Dominican, so obviously I was happy when Jason Rosario won. But who the fuck is Jason Rosario? Jason Rosario got knocked out by a jab to the body by Charlo.
But okay, yes, he did. But against Charlo, who's the best of that weight class.
Okay, but then he gets knocked out by body shot again against Erickson Lubin.
Yeah, it seems to be the kink in the armor. I'll give you that. But he's
good, man.
But when his offense is going, he's a very good fighter, I would say.
What was that?
When his offense is going, he's a very good fighter. So
I just think he's a puncher. And if he could catch you, he can catch you. But it's like, I don't know. I'm not that big on that. So that fight, I'm not that excited for. The Abel Ramos versus Lucas Santamaria.
Well, because remember though, that's a late replacement. It was supposed to be Suicidal Lopez versus Abel Ramos. That's a very good fight. That would have been
that's a very
good fight. So that's a late replacement COVID situation, I think.
Hold on, there's two undefeated fighters fighting. I'm looking at the undercard now, but I'm not familiar with them.
Let me hear the names.
Enrico Garcia.
I'm not.
He's from Georgia, like the country Georgia. He's 13-0 with 8 knockouts. And he's fighting. Hold on, my computer's free.
That's on the Fox card, I imagine, right? Prelims.
I would assume so because I didn't see that on a flyer. And he's fighting Kent Cruz. He's 16-0 with 10 knockouts from St. Louis, Missouri.
I'm not familiar with either fighter.
But anytime I see two undefeated fighters fighting each other, I get excited because there is no like, the A side, B side. Yeah, maybe to some degree because one guy may be the promoter's fighter.
Yeah.
But at the same time. That's a good like you got two guys who don't know how to lose and are not gonna be very willing to give up that
Yeah, but I think the undercard's decent. I think that if you tune in, especially if that Neri fight, I think that's a good fight.
Yeah, somebody said, bro, they was passing those 150 belts like blunts.
They were. There was a portion where if they fought, the belt went somewhere else.
Yeah, we already talked about that, little bro. Yo, Michael, Joel, did y'all hear about March 19th Showtime card, Carlos Castaño? Yeah, we did talk about that. We talked about that extensively. Thank God. I was a little worried why they wasn't making the rematch. That seemed like a natural fight to make.
Yeah, I think that they're just trying to stagger it out. Everybody's trying to get a feel of who's having a fight what weekend, so they're trying to stagger it out.
Yeah, but see, and that's the shit that gets me tight. Why the fuck? If I'm either promoter, whether I'm Eddie Hearn, Bob Arum, or Al Heyman, I'm putting all my fights on Fridays. Why? Because everybody else is putting their fights on Saturdays. So that way you can have a double weekend of fights. You imagine if you get Keith Thurman versus Barrios on Friday, and then on Saturday. Well, let's say that's a bad example. Let's say you get Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor on Friday, and then on Saturday you get Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez. You have a great boxing fucking weekend. As opposed to now I have to decide which fight I want to go to and split my time, and hopefully, they don't fight at the same time. It's like, it's annoying. And yes, there's people who have multiple TV setups. I know there's laptops, there's phones, there's way to watch both, but it's like, would you rather that, or would you rather watch one on Friday and one on Saturday?
Yeah, I for some reason, I don't know. Like I said, that's probably people that have inside information on this. They avoid Friday at all costs, and they're willing to go Sunday now. They're willing to go Sunday night.
Why they avoid Fridays at all costs?
Everyone, no one puts cards on Fridays. No one really ever puts cards
Well,
on
I'm asking
Friday.
why. Do you know why?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm guessing they assume people go out. I'm guessing they're assuming that people want after work stay out and don't come back in. And I'm guessing that's a hard thing to build on.
I don't know. I mean, I used to watch. I mean, those weren't pay-per-view cards, but I used to watch Friday night's fights religiously on ESPN.
Yeah.
No, I used to like Friday night fights more than I did HBO and Showtime. And I know that's a crazy like statement to make, but I used to love seeing prospects and love seeing guys like, oh no, I see something in that guy. I see something in this guy. Oh, that guy's a bum. That guy's a hype job. You know what I'm saying? I love seeing upsets of prospects and shit like that. You know, like Emmanuel Augustus used to fight there, Delvin Rodriguez. A lot of these journeymen, well, Delvin Rodriguez was a contender, not a journeyman. But point is, a lot of these guys who never became champion made a name for themselves and made good money on ESPN on fighting on Fridays. I don't see why promoters don't do that more often.
Yeah, I don't know. I just imagine because, Thurman's going to make a lot of money, and I think they want to get as much casual fans as possible to watch their fight. And they assume
Saturday's the day that's most accessible for people, you think?
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing they're assuming.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Michael Blunt, the Charlo Castano, they're going to fight in LA at the Staples Center. It's now called the Crypto.com Arena. But yeah, where the Staples Center, where the Lakers play.
Actually, a weird place for that fight, if you ask me.
I agree. Like, why not do it in Texas again?
Yeah, I don't get that. I'm guessing Castano did not want that.
Maybe. Oh, then do it in Vegas. New York.
I don't get that. I don't get LA. I don't know if that's a big market for that fight in LA, begging for that fight.
Yeah, that's a fight that you either do in Vegas, Texas, or New York. And the reason I say New York is because New York, man, we got a lot of boxing fans. Like, I don't know if you remember, like every fight was at the Barclays Center, and they never had problems selling tickets.
Yeah, you know what happened with New York? Why there's a lot of the fights that are cutting down there now. They don't even have like really a small market of fights, right? They don't have the lower level fights there anymore. Is that insurance thing passed, right? Where the insurance, it costs too much for people to have, like, the up and coming fights, right? Like the road shows, basically, right? Like a club or something like that.
Yeah.
So now they're only going to bring fights over there that they know are for sure bankable, and especially in that market, right? So that's that really hurt boxing in New York.
No, I totally agree with you, and it affected a lot of people that I'm friends with and stuff like that. A lot, because I have people that I'm cool with. I don't want to say friends, people that I know that, they're 13-2, 14-3, stuff like that, and like that's their bread and butter.
Yeah, they need those shows.
Local cards where they sell, 100 tickets, but they took that away. A lot of those fights are no longer available.
But in LA we have those fights every weekend. We have those smaller card fights every weekend.
Yeah. How's the LA boxing scene? I feel like a little bit of fights happen over there. I'm talking about big fights.
Like, big fights? Yeah, definitely. Like, this has been like probably one of the busiest times in a while that we're gonna get a lot of fights over here. But yeah, it's usually not that busy.
How big is the StubHub Center?
It's not that big. It's
how many people do you know?
Man, I wouldn't know off the top of my head, but it's not that big at all.
Yeah, no, because man, there used to be some fantastic fights.
Yeah. I've been there for a lot of them. I was there for Bradley versus Pronikov. I was there for
that was a fantastic fight.
Rios
Alvarado, you were there.
Alvarado, number 1. I was there. I've been there for a lot of fights. I'm
trying to think of another fight. What about those Vasquez Marquez fights?
Vasquez, I've never been to one of those, but yeah, those were over here. Yeah, those were.
Yeah, no, I love like that arena has seen a lot of fantastic fights. It just
Israel Vasquez lost his eye from those fights.
He lost his eye?
He lost one eye from those fights.
Oh, I didn't know that. I know he broke his nose and he quit because he couldn't breathe anymore.
Yeah, with his eye.
I don't want to say quit. He stopped fighting.
Yeah.
Because I listen, if you break your eye socket, you break your nose, you break your jaw, and you want to stop fighting, you're not a quitter. You're just somebody who's trying to take care of their health, knows that they have a family outside the ring. So when
that's why I stopped fighting. I broke my eye socket.
Really?
Yeah, for that pro fight, I got headbutted and it broke my eye socket right here, and yeah, it was painful. I was like, I don't think this is something I'm going to be doing this anymore.
No, like, and you imagine somebody, like, I don't know if you got stopped or not, but you imagine.
No, just decision.
Yeah, you imagine had you decided to stop fighting, there would be some drunk asshole in the fucking crowd saying, "Oh, he's a quitter."
Oh yeah. No, that's why every time someone stops because they have a broken eye socket, I know from experience. I'm like, that's a painful thing. And if you're gonna go 12 rounds and it's the fifth round, I don't blame any man for saying I
Yeah,
can't keep going
like
after that.
people were trying to give a hard time for what's his name?
Billy Joe Saunders.
Billy Joe. Yo, the guy got his eye socket broken by the #1 pound for pound fighter who's a puncher and had what 4 or 5 more rounds to go. Nah, bro,
Yeah.
I'm okay with you not wanting to fight.
Yeah, it's painful. It's painful. When I got it broken, probably like an hour later, I went to eat. I couldn't chew anything. Like I couldn't even open my mouth. Like it was painful.
Nah, I could imagine. How what's the recovery process? What do they do to you?
No, nothing. So they can if it's bad enough, right? Like so, say like you get the you break the structure under your eye and it starts like sticking up. They have to rebuild that because then eventually that would damage your eyeball. But if you just have a crack, right, or like what I had, like a crack like that, nothing. You just wait it
Let
out,
it heal.
heal up. Yeah, I have like a bump in my face. I can feel it and stuff, but other than that, it's fine.
How long was the recovery process, and also like
Oh, it was months. It was months, and like the first few months, like the first 2 months was painful. Like I could barely eat. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, no, that's crazy, man. I never had no injury like that. Like,
Yeah, that was like the worst I've ever had. That was the worst I've ever had.
yeah, no. That shit's crazy. That's why I got respect for boxers, man. And I'm always hesitant to call somebody a quitter unless they actually quit, like Victor Ortiz or some shit like that.
Yeah, you don't know what they're feeling. You know what I mean? It's hard to tell what they're feeling. You might think like, oh, I've seen someone take worse, but you don't know what those shots are doing to someone. That's why I don't really like when people say like, well, this guy's landing the harder shots. Like I don't know what's the harder shots. I'm not feeling them. You know what I mean? The harder shots, the hard thing to determine because some guys don't look like they have much on the shots, and you feel them as soon as he touches you. Look at like we were saying Crawford with that jab. Now, if that didn't knock him out, right, you wouldn't think there was anything on it. But
Yeah.
that jab put him to sleep.
No, but you know who else? Like, it just didn't seem like he was hitting hard, but you would see the person's face and the person's reaction, and you'd be like, well, he's obviously hitting hard. Was Triple G.
Yeah, Triple G didn't have to put much on his shots to really
Triple G, it, like when I would see him fight, I'm like, yo, why are people saying that this guy's so special? But then you see the guy's face and how the guy's reacting to the punches, and he's like, the guy hits fucking hard. The first fight I've ever seen him fight was against Proska, the Polish fighter. Yo, he fucked this dude up, but it didn't look that impressive because it kind of just looked like he was just placing him. But man, his face was all swollen. He gave up. He got knocked out. I was like, I knew right then and there. I was like, man, this guy can crack, man.
Yeah, power is a hard thing to see. You know what I mean? You might have a thing in your head of what it's going to look like. Power is a hard thing to see. Some guys just have something where they touch you, you just feel the energy come from that knuckle, and you just feel it all down your feet.
Like Wilder has the worst fucking technique I've ever seen.
He touches you, it's over.
He touches you,
it's over.
Lights out. Lights out. Not everybody can be Mike Tyson, where it's like pretty obvious. Like
yeah. Well, he's stout. You know what I mean? You see the full body in motion, right? He's good thing. When you got like Wilder's like a whip. It's like catching at the end of the whip. It doesn't look like much. The whip doesn't look like much. You know what I mean? Until it hits you.
Yeah, no. Mike Tyson, he would get every inch of fiber in his body in his punches. He would land the man, and when he would get to that body too. I love Mike Tyson, man. I feel like a lot of people think he's overrated. And I'm like, dude, he became undisputed in less than a year. And he still, to this day, is the youngest heavyweight champion of all time. And in my opinion, that record is never going to be broken. Never going to have somebody 19, because he was 20 when he became world champion.
Yeah.
Well, you have somebody 19 become heavyweight champion of the world. That record would never be broken, at least not my lifetime. I don't think.
Yeah,
so.
I don't. It's a tough one to break, and especially because of heavyweights, right? Like as the fighters get older, they somehow become better. Like Tyson Fury is at his best right now. You know what I mean? So like, when the younger, you got to first of all physically grown into guys that are like 260 pounds right now this era, and they're so experienced because they're like 35 years old, 36 years old.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. Heavyweight division, first time in a long time, is very interesting. It's very interesting. I mean, I'm not a fan particularly of either of the top heavyweights. I think Tyson Fury is a bit of a weirdo. I ain't like what Deontay Wilder did to Mark Breland. And like, I was a big fan of Anthony Joshua, man, but his mentality lately has made me not be such a fan. And also his post fight, he did an interview where I believe it was IFL TV where he was like, where Tyson Fury was like, oh, trying to play him like, come train with me. I'll spar with you. I'll teach you a thing or two. And Anthony Joshua kind of took it as a joke, like, yeah, haha, yeah, maybe I should go train with him. Yeah, no, he's a good guy. This, and I'm like, I don't know, like, what fighter talks like that? Like, I need my fighter to have some dog in him. That's why I like Tio, because Tio's like, let's go. That's why I like Crawford. Crawford got dog in him. Crawford mean. I like my fighters mean. I like Benavidez. When he gets in that ring, and I don't even like Benavidez' skill. I think he needs a lot to work on. A lot of people are very high on him, which I can see what they see, but he just needs to clean up a lot of things. But one thing I know for sure that he has is that mentality that
he's a dog when he comes forward. But I think if you could push Benavidez back, and if you see like sometimes someone gets physical with him and pushes him back, he could fall apart. His offense is coming forward. Like everything he does is coming forward. If you're gonna push him back, I think he'll really fall apart. I think he would have a real hard time.
He squares up a lot.
He squares up a lot. You're gonna see that a lot too with Thurman. Thurman squares up a lot. Squares up a lot more than people bring up.
No, but not getting back to Benavidez. He squares up, right? What the fuck you gonna think Canelo gonna do to that body, man?
Yeah, no, and Canelo's just gonna push him back with his body. He's gonna physically push him back. He's gonna not allow him to get that forward momentum, and then you're gonna have to see what Benavidez can fight off his back foot, and he can't.
No, the thing is, I just picture Canelo just ripping him with crazy body shots, and I know two things I know for a fact Canelo has is a solid chin, and I know he could pop. I know he got dynamites in those hands. You don't believe me? Ask Caleb Plant. Ask Billy Joe Saunders.
Yeah.
Got his face broken in. You know what I'm saying? Canelo's hitting as hard as ever right now.
And his power carries. It carries late. He doesn't need, because he doesn't, it's not an energy thing, not an explosion thing. His power just carries. It carries late. He can bring it late.
Yeah, he's very good at breaking a fighter down. Like he goes to the body well, sets it up. And what I like about him is a lot of his knockouts are due to his extremely high boxing IQ. Billy Joe Saunders kept leaning to that side, side. And he just put that little in his memory bank. And then when he leaned to that side, he just threw that right uppercut and broke his face. Like, that's something that only the elites do. Terrence Crawford is another dude who has very high IQ. Let me think. Inoue. Well, Inoue's a beast. Inoue's, he just be, he's a savage. But he also has like a high IQ where he's able to adjust. When we see that in the Donaire fight, when he started going more to the body, I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, Canelo's.
I do want to get back to the heavyweight point because we didn't really touch on that. I think Fury has that dog in him that you're talking about, though. I do think he has it. If all the guys has it, he has that dog in him. Now Joshua, he tries to be like a thinker. He tries to overthink everything and all that. And I think that kind of ends up biting him, right? Especially if a fight is not going his way and he doesn't feel it's going to go his way. He kind of like, I'm not going to take any chances to get this point. But go ahead. Sorry, no, go ahead.
No, I think what happens a lot is he goes, all right, I'm bigger than this guy. I'm stronger than this guy, and I trust my power. But oh shit, my chin. I feel like he doesn't trust his chin. He doesn't trust him getting hit in that jaw. I
just think that once the fight's not going in his direction, he kind of like, he decreases, right? He kind of feels, he could kind of wilt a little bit. But everyone's saying, Usyk's going to run through him. Usyk's going to run through him. But before they fought, no one was picking Usyk to win that fight, right? So everyone's just going off of what they saw that night. I know I can make a case that Joshua wins that fight because if Joshua lands cleanly, it's over. That fight is over.
Yo,
go ahead.
When that fight, I was kind of new on YouTube. I predicted knockout of the year
for Joshua.
And everybody was like, "Oh, Usyk." Like, well, not everybody. A lot of people were like, "Usyk's gonna win. Usyk this, Usyk that," and then the motherfucker loses. But I'm like, yo, I did not know he was gonna fight in that manner. He never fights like that.
It was a confusion of. First of all, he comes in pretty light. Now, I think me and you debated whether it was his light of his career. It was pretty light for him. On the far as track record of other fights, right?
240. He was 240. And so, I like my heavyweights big. I like my heavyweights 250.
And he could be big. And he went in there with that, and he kind of didn't know what he was going to do first. He kind of just stood in the middle of the ring, was kind of just waiting for Usyk. And then Usyk started getting a rhythm and started beating him to it. Then he decided, like, okay, I'm going to pressure you. he's at one of his lightest weights, right? So then it's like his body isn't built for the style that he's trying to use at that point. Then he says, I'm gonna try to box with you. And he did do some good boxing. I'm not even gonna lie to you. He did some things that I did like in that fight, with boxing wise. Now, can he win a fight just boxing with Usyk? A lot of people say no. I've seen things I liked. I just think that it has to be more consistent and it has to start earlier if you're gonna do it. But he's gonna have to land at one point, something big.
The thing is, in the Usyk fight, he was having trouble with him the whole fight. Then it came into the 8th or 9th round. He hit Usyk with like 3 or 4 body shots.
Yeah, and he put him to the same, kept putting him the other way. He kept turning him.
Yo, bro, when he was hitting Usyk with those body shots, Usyk's face showed everything. And I don't know why he went away from the body. To me, that should have been the game plan. Break this little cruiserweight down and then knock his ass out late. Who knows? While you're breaking him down, he may go down off a body shot. Because a lot of people make a big deal about Wilder's power, and it's legit. Don't get me wrong. And he's the hardest hitting heavyweight right now. But Joshua is, I want to say, the second hardest puncher in the heavyweight division right now. And it's legit power. He's knocked out champions. He's knocked out solid fighters. He knocked out Klitschko.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he has power. That's what I'm saying. So I just can't see, like, when people say, like, oh, it's impossible, he's not going to win this fight. I'm just so complete. It's like, hey, you were that way going into the Joshua Usyk fight the first time. You were that way for Joshua. Just not forget what the things we saw in the first fight. They could still happen, very much happen in the next fight.
The thing is, if you put a lie detector test on me, I think Anthony Joshua is the best heavyweight. But I can't justifiably defend that argument when the motherfucker, like, I don't know, he just has these mental lapses. He doesn't have what Crawford has. He doesn't have what Benavidez has. He just doesn't have that dog in him. So I can't justifiably back him. I can't justifiably stomp on the table and go, this is the best heavyweight, because he doesn't trust his chin. And if you don't trust it, you can't expect me to put my stamp that you are solidified heavyweight. I just can't. He's just going to have to prove himself to me.
Yeah, well, we're going to see. This is the fight to prove it. I mean, this is everything that that we're going to say that he has a problem with. He can't deal with the level of box this guy has. He's going to have a problem with the power. He's going to have a problem with his chin. All these things, right? And mentally, is he strong enough? Can he make adjustments? We're going to find out all these things. Is the ultimate test for him. And I'm not going to be surprised if he goes in there and knocks out Usyk. I wouldn't be surprised in that.
Yeah, listen, I'm gonna predict that first of all, before I even say a prediction, can we get the fucking fight signed, sealed, and delivered?
Yeah,
there was a rematch clause.
Well, it seemed like he was trying to, they were saying that, they wanted him to do if he was open to step aside money, right? They were saying, like, is he open to it? Then it kind of seemed like they were begging for the step aside money, right? It seemed like it wasn't them asking for him no more. He was kind of like, well, we'll take the step aside money. Is there step aside money there? It seemed like he kind of wanted out of it. So those things do kind of get me weary about him, especially because he's working in the training camp. They show him working his wrestling, his grappling game, and not his boxing, for this fight. So there's a lot of red flags out there.
No, and then he says he's gonna change trainers, and it's like, all right, make a fucking announcement, man. Yeah, make an announcement. Pick a fucking trainer. Like, who are you working with? You got a fight coming up. You should be training with your new trainer from now all the way up until the fight, so you can get a chemistry with your trainer and figure it out. To me, the trainer that he needs is Teddy Atlas. Teddy Atlas is somebody.
Good matchup.
Come on, we're firemen.
Yeah, exactly.
Get in your face. He trained Mike Tyson in the amateurs. This is somebody who, got cut in the face before, been at Rikers Island. Like, Teddy Atlas was about that life back in the day. He shot a gun at Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
He needs to be around some alpha males like that. Somebody who could penetrate into his mentality and make him be a fighter.
Exactly.
He just doesn't have it in him. I don't know. I need to see a little bit more from Joshua. I need to see a little bit more anger, more meanness, more dog, for me to really get back on for me to say I'm a fan. I can't say I'm a fan when you fucking losing to a cruiserweight, man. Because that loss was more of what he didn't do than what Usyk did do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to take away too much from Usyk. He did good things too in that fight.
I'm taking it away.
He did some good things in that fight, but I do think there's adjustments that can be made to make that fight a lot closer.
Listen, Break him down, man. Break him down. That's it. That's it. If he goes to the body from first round and starts breaking him down, he could get him out of there early. He could get him out of there by the 7th or 8th.
Yeah.
If he just starts breaking him down. Joshua's a talented fighter, man. He was not a gold medalist for no reason. And he has power. Look at his knockout percentage. It's just he doesn't trust his chin. And he came with a horrible game plan. I don't know. I don't know what his trainer was doing or thinking when they came up with that game plan.
Yeah, we're gonna see. Well, we're gonna see what he's gonna bring to the table this time.
I just hope they come up with a date very soon because I'm tired of fucking waiting, man. I want to know when's the fight gonna happen. And I also don't like how all his fights in the UK, man. Bring some of them shits to Vegas, to New York, man.
But last time they came here, it didn't end so good for him. So he was like, hey, they're probably taking that chance. You know what I mean?
He
there's a lot of money
learned
to
his
make for him in the UK. I can't blame him. Like, you know what I mean? I know we want everything over here, but there's a lot of money he's making over there. So it's like, I ain't going to be mad at him for staying over there.
Nah, but he'll make more money in Vegas. Them casinos, he'll pack that shit out. They'll give him money.
Yeah, I believe it, but I just know I think they're probably just banking on a sure thing.
I guess. Somebody wrote, no, he's not going to knock out Usyk. He's too fast with very good angles and very good footwork.
I agree with you. He has all those things, but does not act like Joshua wasn't able to do some stuff in the fight, right? It wasn't like it was just complete schooling. There was stuff that he could do, and I think there's stuff that he could capitalize on.
I just think he, for whatever reason, didn't press the action. And I felt like as the bigger man, you got to let this motherfucker know, like, yo, you just a cruiserweight. Remember that. And he didn't do that. He just was very tentative and was trying to think too much. It's like, motherfucker, ain't nothing to think. Just throw punches. Throw it to the body, man. Break that motherfucker down and knock him out. We're
gonna see.
Like,
we're gonna see.
People want to make it more complicated than it is. Oh, his angles and this, and oh my god, and Usyk didn't show me anything in that fight where I was like, damn, look what he's doing, man. Look what he's doing to Joshua. And like when Kambosos beat Teofimo, I came away like, oh no, look what Kambosos is doing. Look how well he's boxing. Look how he's controlling the distance. Look how he's coming in and then jumping right out. Look at his hand speed. I saw things in the Kambosos upset. Now with the Usyk upset, I just saw that more so. What the fuck is Joshua doing? That's what I kept saying to myself the whole fight. I don't know, man. I guess I don't know. How did you feel watching the fight?
I thought that Joshua just kind of didn't have an idea of what exactly he wanted to implement in that fight. I thought he kind of like stood there, let Usyk kind of get comfortable. And then he said, like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then, like, okay, he kind of didn't feel that was successful. So, okay, now I'm going to try to do this. It just never really was, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to stick to it. And I feel like he did good things in both. When he went forward, he did good. When he boxed, he did good stuff. It just wasn't enough to win the fight. And I think that if he starts earlier, first of all, don't give up the first 2 rounds just standing there waiting. You know what I mean? You got to either go forward or come backwards. Do something, though. You got to put your game plan in and start sooner and work on that and build towards something. If you're putting pressure, build towards it late. If you're going to dance around, look to win rounds early so you can win the rounds late. You know what I mean? Make Usyk walk into something. He didn't do that. He never did that in the fight. He never took control. Never felt like he had control of the fight.
Totally agree. All right, guys, please, I know I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. Please go to my man Ez Raw Podcast, Boxing and MMA. Go hit that subscribe button. Looks like we already got one subscriber. It was at 39. Now it's at 40.
I will take it.
Please go over there. Hit that subscribe button. This is a very knowledgeable guy, as you guys are hearing here in the stream. Go minimize the page. Go open up a new tab. Subscribe to his channel, please. This is my guy right here. I want to see him grow his channel. All right. Anything else you want to talk about as far as in the boxing world? I can't really think of anything.
I'm out right now, and I can hear my baby screaming. So I'm like, I already know that I already know when I walk out of here that this isn't going to be as friendly as me and you conversation we're having right now. When I walk out of here, it's not going to be as friendly, that conversation. So
no, all right. So my brother, go take care of your baby and your wife. Family
Saturday, post fight.
Saturday.
I want questions. I want everything. I want people on here commenting. I want to know what people are thinking, and I want to answer the questions.
So good thing you remind me because I was gonna forget. Saturday night after the fight on Keith Thurman versus Mario Barrios, me and Ezra, right here on this channel. Again, we're going to do a full breakdown. We're going to do a breakdown of the fight, breakdown of the undercard fights, as well as where does Mario Barrios go from here? Where does Keith Thurman go from here? As well as anything, if there's any announcement the day of, or if there's any controversy or whatsoever, come to this channel.
I also have a take on Bam versus Quadros. I don't think you have a take on it, but I'll have an opinion on what happened with Bam versus Quadros.
I'm gonna watch that fight too.
Okay.
I know I was talking shit about the little guys, but yeah. I watch them. I just like me. I prefer 130 and up. No, not even 126 and up. Although I do make an exception for Inoue. I'm a big fan of Inoue.
I think we're going to see some good talent this weekend, so I think you're going to like this fight too.
No, for sure. There's a lot of fights. So come this Saturday, right after the Keith Thurman, Mario Barrios fight, come to this YouTube channel. Also, hit that like button so that my channel could grow a little bit more. Everything I'm asking you to do is for free. I ain't asked you for 1 penny, so please do. Go subscribe to Ezra Podcast. Hit the like button and come back here on Saturday right after the Keith Thurman, Mario Barrios fight. All right, Ezra, thank you so much. Now, anytime you want to share your social media?
Oh, yeah. Ezra Podcast all over. I got Instagram and Twitter. Ezra Podcast. I'm also on Spotify. I have a separate podcast for my YouTube account. There are 2 different podcasts. I give a lot of content. I give as much content. If you want to talk fighting, listen to fighting, and you want to, talk about the big fights this week and the big news, I do it on Spotify. I do it on Apple. Anywhere you can find podcasts, Ezra Podcast, and on YouTube.
All right. And one last thing I'll say before I let you go. I'm going to help him how to have people call in the same way.
I'm gonna start streaming live.
Yeah, he's gonna start streaming, and he's gonna have a situation where he's gonna allow people to call in. He's not there yet, but we're gonna work on that. My man, definitely his channel's gonna grow. If I'm you, subscribe to his channel now, so when he blows up, you guys can be like, "Oh, I was there from the beginning." Trust me. All right, Ezra, thank you so much for hopping on, my brother.
All right, peace.
All right, peace. All right, guys. Nobody called in today. If you guys want to call in, I'll give you guys about like 5 or 10 minutes. If you guys want to call in and be a part of the conversation. If not, then I'll hop off and, go to sleep or something. Nah, not go to sleep. It's too early. I was going to go to the gym today, but I'm tired. I woke up real early today. I actually woke up early because I was going to go meet up with Amanda Serrano, believe it or not. I was going to go meet up with Amanda Serrano. And my father who does the connection, we went to the gym and we're like, damn, they didn't come. They were supposed to be here, this, that, and the third. My father told me, was like, oh, he just came unannounced. Like, he was like, oh, they're always here at this time. I was like, okay. And then we see on YouTube, today was the press conference for Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano. So she was at the press conference and we're at the gym. Like, I was like, oh, shit. So it was kind of a funny situation. But, guys, call in if you guys want to be a part of the conversation. Just click the link at the top of the chat. And, again, I'm only going to be on here for like another 5 minutes. Since I had a guest on, I want to give you guys a chance to call in if you guys had something to say. But, yeah, man, hopefully getting back to the topic on hand as far as the topic of the show was Teofimo Lopez. Hopefully he's well. His mental as well. I don't like hearing things that, he's dealing with mental issues and shit like that, and contemplating suicide. That shit ain't cool, man. Do you think Amanda will finish Katie, bro? I know Amanda's gonna win. Believe me, I'm 100% sure. And she's an underdog, not by much, but she's an underdog. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck these dudes see. Katie Taylor. What's her knockout percentage? It's very, very low. It's very, very low. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Not if I can find it. Let me find it. Let's see. Katie Taylor. By the way, is her name really Katie? It's not a nickname or something. Yeah. So she's 35 years old. So she's a bit seasoned. 5'5" with a 66-inch reach. But she's 20-0 with 6 knockouts. That's a 30 knockout percentage. That's horrible. Meanwhile, Amanda Serrano's 42-1 with 30 knockouts with a 68.18 knockout percentage. So she literally has double the knockout percentage. She's I want to say, was it She's a half an inch taller with a half an inch less in reach. Amanda, yo, I've seen Amanda work out and lift weights like the weights I be lifting. And I'm a pretty big guy, you know what I'm saying? I'm not a little dude. So I think Amanda got it, man. I think Amanda got it. It's not because I know her personally. It's not because she's from Brooklyn and I'm from Brooklyn. That's not the case. I genuinely think that. I genuinely think he knocks her. He beats her. Now, does she stop her? Does she stop her? I don't know. I don't know because in women's boxing, it's kind of hard. Like not a lockout happen, not a lot of knockouts happen, but her knockout percentage is high. Katie Taylor isn't particularly a hard person to hit, and she's also not a hard hitter where you can be like, oh, she's gonna be able to hit Amanda and keep her off of her. So you not only are you not a puncher, you also are susceptible to getting hit, and you're what 3-4 years older. I don't see how Amanda Serrano loses this fight. Yeah, Amanda Serrano's 33 and Katie Taylor's 35. So Amanda Serrano has a 2-year age advantage, a half an inch reach advantage, way more experience because she got way more professional fights, and she has more than double the knockout percentage you have. I honestly do not see Amanda losing this fight at all. I think I might throw some money on it just because Amanda's my chick, man. I really liked her. Like she's always been super nice to me. And yeah, she's from Brooklyn. I've definitely got my Brooklyn bias on. But again, it's not even being a bias. I genuinely think Amanda wins the fight. If I didn't think she would win the fight, I would say it. But I genuinely think that. But guys, I'm gonna give you guys 3 more minutes. If you guys want to call in, click the link at the top of the chat. We can have a conversation. But yeah, I think Amanda beats Katie Taylor. I'm looking forward to that fight. I might go. I know that's the same day as Shakur versus Valdez. And obviously that's a fight I really want to see. That's a great unification fight. But I know Amanda personally, and it'd be kind of fake for me to not go to the fight. So I think I might go. My father knows her. My father's really close with her and her trainer / brother-in-law. So if my father goes, I'm definitely going. You know what I'm saying? And then if my father goes and I'm going, most likely my brother's gonna go, and we're gonna have a whole lot of fun if everything works out the way I think it will. But yeah, most likely I'm going to that fight. I'm looking forward to that fight. It's the first female fight where I'm really looking forward to, because especially I know if Amanda wins, her life changes forever. Forever. She's going to be a legend. She will literally be the greatest woman of all time. Well, at least in the conversation. Now, let me put it like that because, Clarissa Shields definitely has her name in the hat as far as when it says to that. I heard Caleb Plant and Darrell might fight. I heard the same rumor, but I don't know how true that is. And that's a fight that doesn't make sense to me, man. Make him against fucking David Benavidez, him against Charlo, him against Andre. These are the fights we want to see. Who the fuck is Anthony Darrell, man? Like, that guy doesn't move me, man. I've never seen anything in Anthony Darrell where I'm like, whoa. And he's older. He's like, what, 36, 37? I think he's 37 years old. How old is he? Hold on. Let me Google that. Anthony Darrell. Oh. Darrell. Yeah, I'm not. I don't like that fight. I really don't. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, he's 37. I hit it right on the nose. 37 years old. He is coming off a very, very impressive knockout. Very impressive. But the 2 fights before that, he had a draw with Kyron Davis and then got stopped by David Benavidez. How good is this guy? I don't know. I really don't. Anthony Darrell has to be paying the WBC for all these damn title shots. Yo, I have no idea what if he must have nudes on Mauricio Suleiman, how much he be getting these damn high rankings in the WBC. All right, guys, looks like nobody wanted to call in. I'm gonna let you guys go. I went a little longer than I usually do, but I hope you guys appreciated the content. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation between me and Ezra, and I hope you guys went over to his page and subscribed. But all right, guys, that's my video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Until next time, peace. Oh, wait, I actually might be going live on Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. It's not guaranteed, but I may be doing that. So if you guys want to go be a part of that conversation, again, Friday, 12 o'clock. I may do it. I'm not guaranteeing it. But all right, guys, until next time. Peace.